All right. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. Happy beginning of Feast of Tabernacles. As you know, I said I would do the Maze Runner edition of Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, so real quickly, let's just get right into it. As time runs out, those who have been in the truth of the Most High understand where we are heading. However, as for those who are recently new in the truth, time seems like an enemy. Though the Most High is great all the time, the world has taken advantage of the Most High and embraced Satan so much that they wouldn't even recognize it if the devil himself told them. For this high holy day, we will be exploring the journey of the Feast of Tabernacles and how we have been given numerous signs to show that it leads to the end. Brace yourself because for this Holy Day mini series, we will be touching many points that reach the globe, along with the entire Europe as a whole, Africa, and even the US. Now, um, really quickly for anyone who's new, who doesn't understand the Feast of Tabernacles, we will be going into it. All right, and so here's my table of contents. As you can see, the Feast of Tabernacles has 8 days in it. Okay, so it's about a week long and an additional day added at the end. So what I'm going to go over today is the Feast of Tabernacles part 1 and the warning. All right, so um, I'll do part 1 and part 2. And then you see the third part is lockdown, and the fourth part is the woes. Those probably will be separate because we got a lot of videos for those woes. All right. Um, and I know you see it says blackout and tabernacles. Now, once you get the basic understanding of what Feast of Tabernacles is, you'll understand exactly why I titled part 4 Blackouts and Tabernacles. And they're, as you can see, to be determined for part 5 and 6 because there's some things I wanted to add. I'm not sure if I want to actually add it in this series or add it in another lesson, but if I do not add those things, then Pilgrims will be the last portion of this, and then that would be completing it at 5. But um, let's get right into it. All right. So starting from, I told you Maze Runner. Now I'm gonna break a few things down real quick. Fair use. Oh, 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 no! Don't put that part in. They'll probably take it off for that part. Fair use.
I think it's safe to say the Maze trials were a complete success. It's too soon to say. They could be the key to everything. It's time now to begin phase 2.
Welcome to the Scorch. The world outside is hanging on by a very thin thread. Beyond this door lies the beginning of your new lives.
Thomas, we weren't the only maze.
Don't you remember about Wicked?
I remember they sent me to the maze. I remember watching my friends die in front of me.
Don't you want to understand
Understand what?
why this all happened? I just need to know. Whose side are you on?
They're home with me.
What? You don't know that?
They lied to us. We never escaped. It's just been part of their plan.
What do they want from you?
Thomas! The maze is rampage. The 2 kids might last 1 day out in the Scorch.
What the hell?
The course of your lives will determine the course of humanity. Into light or darkness.
All right. So you may ask, Feast of Tabernacles and Maze Runner Scorch Trials, what do they have to do with, what do they have to do together? You know, what similarities? Why call it that? So now I'm going to break it down. All right, that very video with the scriptures. Now, part one is called When God Says Flee. Now you're going to understand. I want you to highlight this part because at the end of this complete lesson, the last slide is called Will You Flee? So we're going to start with When God Says Flee, and the end will be Will You Flee? You tracking so far? All right, outstanding. So starting with Leviticus chapter 23. And we're going to go 33 to 44. It reads, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be a holy convocation, ye shall do no servile work. Now, I'm going to break this up, but first, I have to clear the air on something because there was an individual who they came from a different congregation and they're still in that congregation. This is, I'm not referring to anyone that's with me live, but this individual, you know, they were commenting on my on my videos about the holy days. And you know, my thing is this, right? I, if you belong to another congregation or another church, why are you going to and fro? In fact, your pastor, your elder should have told you the Most High is highly against individuals going to and fro. Like, for example, your elder, and I'm speaking to the specific person, your elder has probably never made a series lesson in depth about CERN. In fact, most elders, pastors have not. And so you came within my page with my congregants and my lessons, and also emailing myself for my lessons. Yet you have an issue with how I keep the holy days. Now, I'm going to say this again for all brothers and sisters who don't pay attention. Okay, I posted this in the community page on the YouTube portion of this, because I have to say YouTube because there's different sites that we also post on. Okay, on the YouTube portion, if you go onto my page in the community section, I posted where I got the holy days from. Now, this is the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm going to share it again. It says the Passover was the 15th day of the first month, always celebrated on a Wednesday. The Feast of Weeks, the 15th day of the third month, always on a Sunday. The Day of Atonement was the 10th day of the seventh month on a Friday. And the Feast of Tabernacles, the 15th day of the seventh month on a Wednesday. Okay, so, and this goes all the way back to Jubilees, the Book of Enoch, which we will get into today, not for the calendar. So, like I said to that individual, I always here within my ministry, I always show people the evidence of where I get things. You're not going to hear me say, oh, just take my word from it. There's a reason why my lessons are so long. There's a reason why I pull different sources that go along with the Bible so that you have concrete evidence. So you're not curious or wondering, oh, well, is it this or was it? Because as I said in my many are called, few are chosen lesson prior to this, the scent of wolves, the scribes and Pharisees will tell you to follow them without any evidence or with the minimal of evidence. As for myself, well, I'm giving you everything that I read. And I've said this several times before. So for that individual, I really do hope that they make a decision within themselves to follow the Most High properly instead of going to and fro. Brothers and sisters need to start reading their Bible. This is the end, right? This is the end. If you're to and fro, if you have to go to another person for a teaching of the Bible and you already belong to a church, your church failed you because there's a reason you're going to someone else. Right? You're not being fed properly, correct? You're not being edified. You're not, being given the understanding of what the Most High wants you to understand. So I just want to share that right there. Now, the 15th day of the first month, always celebrated on the Wednesday. You have the Day of Atonement, and then you also have like the blowing of trumpets. Remember, we did the blowing of trumpets was on a Wednesday, right? It was on the Wednesday. It was on August 31st. Now, if you have read Enoch properly, you understand that there's 4 seasons in a year, okay? Within every season equals 13 weeks. That's about, give or take, 3 months, okay? 3 months with 4 seasons, okay? It clearly states that the first month is 30 days, the second month is 30 days, and the last month is 31 days. This is how we get 364 days in a year because we have those 4 days that are tacked on, added to the last month of the season for every season. Okay. So I give the understanding. Maybe that individual is, I'm assuming they're very new because for you to go on someone else's page and make comments, yeah, you want to sit here and try and deter someone else and tear down someone else because you have little knowledge. Keep that over there and that congregation. I know exactly the congregation you came from as well, but I'm not going to say, any names, but, you know, please, whoever you are, right, just focus on righteousness. Seriously, right? Focus on righteousness. Now, the next thing I wanted to share, you may ask, how do we get Wednesday as the first day? Okay, because you get the Feast of Tabernacles. All right, and just a little quick lesson, right? How many people knew that seasons and days were created on the 4th day of creation? Okay, I'm going to show you. Where is it? Here. Genesis 1 and 14. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. This, brothers and sisters, is not the original from 3, from verse 3 to 5, saying God called the light day. Okay, this is not the same thing. Okay, just want, if you are new in the truth, it's easy for these false shepherds to deceive you. Why? How do we know this? It clearly says the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and for let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. So time was created on the fourth day, which what comes with time, days, months or weeks, months, years, day, night, seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter. All of that was created on the fourth day. And that's where we get the first day of the month. The first day officially was the fourth day of the week. What is the fourth day? On our calendars in the world, you start from Sunday, you go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday was the original. Okay. Wednesday was the original. All right. Moving forward. Now, just wanted to put that out there. Leviticus 23, going back. Now, I wanted to touch on Leviticus 23 and 35 really quick. It says, on the first day, let there be a holy convocation. We know that convocation as an assembly, a gathering with brothers and sisters, you know, wherever you congregate. All right. I know it's difficult considering we have tons of people who are on my live sometimes. We have people from India, we have people from South Africa, we have people from the UK, we have people from the US, all over. And it can be difficult to congregate. So, what I'd say is just keep the day holy, all right? Focus on the Most High. Focus on the ones who are with you in that place. If there's anyone who's with you in righteousness, focus on, convocating with them. All right. And also, it talks about what? A reading and rehearsal. So, for example, with myself, for the first day of the holy day, those who are with me in person, we were going over offerings. Some did singing, some did drawings and paintings. Sometimes people do poetry, different things like that. So it's an offering. It's about showing your love for the Most High. And really, the only way you'll be able to produce a good offering is by knowing yourself. Okay, which the Bible calls it knowing your talents or knowing your fruits. All right. Now it says, ye shall do no servile work. Now, a lot of people get confused about the word servile because when they see the word servile and they see no work, they would think it says, oh, work of any kind. All right. Now, here, my job, ministering. Obviously, that's not correct, right? Because we're still supposed to wholly convocate, which is what? A reading. Okay, an assembly. And who holds that? The ministers, the elders, the priests, whomever, the teachers. All right. So, what is servile work? Servile work, check out some of the words here. Work of any kind in regards to labor or bondage or bond servant, office, service, tillage. Okay. So when I think of an office, when you go to a job, right? There's an office, right? You clock in, you clock out. That's an office, right? Anything that has to do with gaining money from this world, that would be work. Okay, that would be work. Any servile kind of work. Look what it says here. A work performed or made for another out of obligation, requirement, or gratitude. So you would go to work, right, as a requirement to pay your bills, right? To eat. It says also to provide a service to another or to work at a profession. So this has to do with finances. Okay, this has to do with finances. All right. Also, if you are a college student, we have a few college students. If you are, a grad student, whatever the case is, any kind of student, this also applies as well. All right. And myself, uh, having been a professor before, there are ways that you can go out and speak to your professor to get time off or rearrange your testing or your work. And if not, you can also go to higher authorities for that as well. There's always a way, brothers and sisters. Next, 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work. So here we have the Feast of Tabernacles. It's supposed to be for 7 days, right? It says, shall be for 7 days. Here's the kicker. A lot of people don't recognize that it is a feast, all right? And a lot of people don't recognize that the Most High added an 8th day. So the first day of the week, or excuse me, the first day of the feast is a holy day, it's a Sabbath, and the 8th day is a Sabbath. It's not 8 days a Sabbath, okay? I don't want, anyone panicking. Oh my goodness, I can't take off 8 days, Oh my goodness, I can't do no school for 8 days, right? No, brothers and sisters, Most High didn't make his holy days grievous. He meant for the holy days to be a joy, a peace. And with saying that, think about this too, right? It's such a blessing when you come into the truth, because and it's sad because some people are in the truth but are not truly in the truth, because there's elders and different churches and stuff who hold their holy days on the original Sabbath, which it says that nowhere in scripture to do. Okay. And so the brothers and sisters are, one, they're incorrectly serving the Most High, and two, the love and joy and peace that come from the original honoring of the holy days, they miss it completely, because the Most High gave through each season additional days beside the regular Sabbaths, because he knew the times would be hard. Okay. And you'll understand exactly why he did that as we move forward, okay, in this lesson. So no servile work should be done. Now we're going to get to the offering, okay? We do not, I repeat, we do not cut goats and different things. I know when I was in East Africa, I had a neighbor who served the Most High, and every holy day they would go before the holy day, they would cut the lamb, and I'm like, poor animal. Yeah, they would blow the shofar, and I said, "Oh, poor animal." I said, "Oh, oh man, it was just, it was mind blowing. It was great to know that they serve the Most High, but it was like, have you not read that we don't offer goats and bullocks and different things like that? So we do not do that, but I will show you exactly what we do in place of that. Okay. Verse 37, these are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and meat offering, and a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Now, also, if you've watched my Day of Atonement lesson, you'd see why we do not do the offerings today. Okay, and that's mainly in the book of Hebrews. Besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord. So notice, brothers and sisters, during this holy week, you can give gifts to the Most High, okay, which would be your talents. You can give new vows to the Most High. It's pretty cool, okay? It's you, between you and the Most High, and you saying, Most High, maybe I fell behind last year. I vowed to change myself. And brothers and sisters, remember, if you vow a vow and you do not honor it, it is considered not as a shortcoming of, oh, well, I'll just get it next year. Should you vow a vow with the Most High, he holds it to you as judgment if you do not fulfill it. Don't sit there. Maybe you may want to stop smoking, or maybe you may want to stop drinking. Maybe you may want to, lose a little weight or something like that. Do not, do not say something in prayer and meditation with the Most High and don't fulfill it, because he will consider it as a sin. And you can go and read that in the Old Testament. Vows are very serious. All right. So those are awesome things that we can give. Now, understand those gifts, like I said before, those are talents. Okay. Talents. Okay. An offering, a present. All right. So this is the time. This is the time. And you're going to see why. As I called this holy day, Feast of Tabernacles, the Maze Runner edition, you're going to see why it is so important to give all you can to the Most High now, because brothers and sisters, soon we won't have the opportunity to give. Soon we will not have the opportunity to give. And how will you feel knowing that you never, ever gave anything to the Most High when you had the ability? You're going to feel horrible. I know I would. So while you can now, hey, one thing is better than nothing. Okay, one thing is better than nothing. Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. So just reiterating what I stated there before. Okay, now understand this. This was what? Feast of Tabernacles, about gathering in fruits. Gathering in fruits. Why? Because the winter is coming. The winter is coming. Now, for those of you who may live in Babylon, or needless to say, I don't think it really matters, okay, where you live, because once Babylon, known as America, gets touched, everywhere else will be affected. Okay. So why would we be gathering in the fruits? Look at what's happening now. This just came out yesterday. They say the biggest Fed rate hike in 40 years. It could be coming next week. Now, I'm going to say this. The Most High would never, ever, 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 ever tell you. He would never tell people who love him to go out and get things in the midst of chaos, right? he would have you do it before. That's the purpose of following true ministers. Okay, that is the purpose. So you have for people like that individual sitting there saying, oh, your holy days or this or that. Well, everyone who's listened to me prior to this and prior to CERN, they are already well equipped because we were in tune with the holy days. And before the things happen, like the interest rates, every time they would hike up, they were already privy to the knowledge months before. And that's how the Most High operates. So, with that being said, they're saying the biggest Fed rate hike. Now, I don't care what no one says. We're all adults. Babylon runs the world. If it happens in Babylon, it will trickle down everywhere else, except for those uh, those 5 nations that operate in BRICS. That's Brazil, that's Russia, that's India, that's China, and that's South Africa. Okay, those are the nations who years ago started a currency of their own. And I said this before, and many people didn't even listen. But those who were with me, they knew I was talking about that, and I was talking about Iran for the longest time. Okay, so those nations, that's why you see Brazil not really touched. They having some issues. Russia, hey, they choking off Europe with the gas and all the different things. Um, India, they seem to have changed some of their currency, and actually now the Indian rupee has more value than the European euro. What world do we live in, right? It was as if they knew once Russia and China started doing things, those who were connected with them would flourish. Now, does that mean their people flourish? No, that just means the powers that be in those nations would flourish. So they're still hurting the people. They're still going to get inflation. They're still going to be crushed. However, those will be the nations moving forward and splitting away from the euro and the dollar. And then you have China. Everyone knows, hey, China at this point, it's just a ticking time bomb between Russia, China, and Iran, seeing what they're going to do. And we know Iran is going to destroy a nation in the Middle East, which I won't say. um, put 2 and 2 together, Revelation 2 and 9, that nation will be destroyed so that people can understand those were never his people. But moving forward, so this is what's going to happen next week. Biggest Fed height break. And then they say it will spark a dangerous game with the economy. So I want you to understand. And then this is the one that got me the most. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. The terminology is crazy. They said the Fed will continue raising rates to at least 4% come hell or high water. So it doesn't matter how bad it is for the people, hell or high water, flooding. It don't matter if you burning up, or it don't matter if you flooded to your nostrils. They are going to keep going. Okay. As you all know, any articles that I use, I put it in the description. So if you want these articles to read them on your own, make sure you look in the description, especially on the YouTube channel. Okay. Brothers and sisters, like I said, I made the lesson blowing of trumpets prior to this. Did I not? It was literally days before this, about almost 11 days before this. And I called it the Hunger Games. When they raise this rate again, Watch how hard it is to get basic food. If you're not feeling it now, you will feel it then. Watch, watch, watch when fruits start becoming $10. Watch, watch when vegetables become 15 and $20. Just watch. Watch when canned goods go from, and some places I know back in the day there used to be Walmart. They had 88 cents, 70 cents, 60 cents, sometimes 50 or 40 cents. Um, and people like, man, he probably old talking about 50, 40 cent cans. But y'all understand, back in the day, it was cheaper. And we just seen the increase and increase and increase and increase. Now you go to some places, it's almost $2 a can, I'm certain, right? I've seen where it's $2. So, you know, hey, and I can just imagine in Babylon. I can just imagine. Okay. Um, with that being said, brothers and sisters, the Most High would never, ever have those whom He loves and those who show love to Him suffer in this. That's simple. It's as simple as that. And think about it, right? For all the individuals who, and I'm going to touch on these false shepherds, for all the individuals listening and following these false shepherds, think about what it's doing to your life. If the Most High called his ministers to be prophets, wouldn't you think that the Most High would give us the ability to tell you what was coming before it happened? That's how you know. That's one of the ways you know someone is of the Most High. One, they tell you you don't have time because you don't control it. You can't dictate what you don't control, right? So you can't, brothers and sisters, you could be listening to my lesson today and die tomorrow. You don't control time, right? Neither do I. So a true minister, a prophet, whatever the case you call it, elder, teacher, so forth and so forth, they would tell you you don't have time. Never wait. And then, second, they would tell you what the Most High wants you to know so that you don't suffer. Think about it, right? We all know the story with Joseph in Egypt. How would it feel for Joseph and the children of Israel and Jacob to suffer the famine when the famine wasn't for them, right? But the Most High told Joseph how to operate, and he saved a nation of people as well, just for listening. And think about this, right? Would you prefer the Most High telling you through someone, hey, prepare now and hurry up? Or when it finally hits you and your pockets can't afford apples or bananas, can you imagine seeing $4 bananas? I mean, they already messing with the bananas, but can you imagine seeing $10 apples, $5 grapefruits? Can you imagine these things? The Most High always beats Satan. Therefore, he would always say, hey, prepare before it comes. And instead of, and I'll even put it out there, you have some congregants, doing meet and greets with their elders and red carpets, and I'm like, these people are shameful. I almost call them fools, but these these people are shameful. I'm like, what? Christ didn't even get a red carpet. Christ didn't even get a meet and greet, and you want to honor these people as if they're going to save your life? They're not going to save your life. They're using you. They're using you. And brothers and sisters, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of it, and find out what ministers and pastors are really of the Most High, go ahead and look at like the last 10 to 15 lessons they've taught. And if the percentage of it is like, if 80% of it is about all the signs that's happening, the Most High is using them to share. If it's not, if you got, because there's some elders and teachers and uh, pastors out there even talking about the what was it, the Chris Rock slap and this person and that person, and everyone who's been with me knows. I said, if you're an elder or a pastor talking about Kevin Samuels or Chris Rock, they should just go ahead and tie the millstone around their neck now. because, because none of those people are righteous. None of them are going to get you to the kingdom, and all of those people have settled their soul on the kingdom of Satan. And if you're really trying to serve the Most High, why would you be needing to know about someone who doesn't affect you, right? Now, if they go about Queen of England or King Charles and seeing all the things how he is in Revelation and he is the last king to be set up to persecute the world, okay, okay. But all these other things, brothers, sisters, I'm trying to tell you, the Sabbath is for rest, and preparation, brothers and sisters, is rest. I don't care what no one says. Would you rather be prepared and rest and know, like for myself, I say, praise the Most High. I'm resting. If I choose not to go to the grocery store for a month, I'm okay. Praise the Most High. If I choose not to go to the grocery store for 2 months, I'm okay. If I choose not to go to the grocery store for 3 or 4 or 5 months, I'm okay. And that's how the Most High operates. Like I said, reference to Joseph, right? They had endured a 7-year famine, right? 7 years. Brothers and sisters, we talking about, this is nothing compared to Joseph time. And no disrespect to Joseph, amazing forefather. His righteousness is something that we will never even come to the surface of. However, this famine that they're creating is worldwide. And this is the end, right? So we're talking about, this is not going to be a 7-year famine and then a 7 years of plenty, like with Joseph, right? This is going to be, if you don't take my mark, if you don't worship my image, then you will suffer. This is what it's all coming down to. This is what it's all coming down to. Verse 40, and ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly branches, the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. Okay, so we got to do some praying. We got to do some praising. We got to do some singing. I don't care if you can't sing. You know what? In a congregation, I could care less if you can sing or if you can't sing, because Most High made voices differently. As long as you are shouting some glory to the Most High, who cares? There's no one here to judge you on how you worship. At least you worship, right? That's all that matters. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelite born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord. Now, a lot to touch here. One, feast, 7 days, a statue forever. Simple. Two, dwelling in booths. Okay. All that are Israelite born. So now this becomes a separation for Israel and Gentiles in this. But hey, Most High is not going to discriminate if you're a Gentile and you stay in booths. In fact, it would be wise to prepare yourself. Simple. Why? Because we know when the Most High brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, well, maybe a lot of people don't know, but it wasn't just the children of Israel. They also had Gentiles with them as well. It was predominantly the children of Israel, but they also had they also had Gentiles who honored the Israelites as God's people. Somewhat like how things will happen today, or should I say in the future. Now, booths. A lot of people say, oh, tents, right? Yes. Okay. What it says is a protective covering as a shelter from the sun, wind, or rain. All right. Now, you may say, what happens if I don't have a tent? Now, remember, this is all in remembrance to what? To how the children of Israel fled out of Egypt. So think of it as a week of us downgrading, okay? Downgrading maybe some foods or downgrading how you sleep. So if you can't observe and you don't have the money to purchase a tent, or if you don't, say you live in an apartment complex or project complex or whatever, and um, there's no area for you to pitch a tent, just set up something on the floor in the living room with a sleeping bag, right? Just to get and show the Most High that you're still going to do what you can. A lot of people sit there and say, "Oh, you're not doing this." And hey, I'm gonna sit here and say, who am I to sit there and say that just because you don't have a tent, that you can't keep this holy day? Okay. Now, also, I think it's if you read in the book of, I want to say it was a book of Judith, they kept the Feast of Tabernacles, if I'm not mistaken, on rooftops. So you don't have to keep it in a tent as long as you're observing it the best you can, right? And these times, you think, like I said before, brothers and sisters, be aware of those individuals who are sitting there telling you, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that. The Most High is not going to have a holy day be grievous where you spend 70, 80, $100 on a tent, but you can't get food, right? Think about it, brothers and sisters. The Most High is not grievous. So anyone who's sitting there spewing all that, run from those individuals, okay? Dwelling in booths, hey, don't sleep on the couch. Don't sleep on the bed. If you don't got a sleeping bag, fold up some blankets, sleep on the floor, make it feel as if you're outside. Okay. Get the feel. Eventually, we will be there at that point. Why do I say this? Christ already told us in the book of Matthew 24. Was it Matthew 24? He said in Matthew 24 and 17, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So if you can't return to your house, what do you think is happening? You're outside, which means you would be living in a tabernacle, right? You would be living outside. You would have been fled from a certain situation. Okay. This is this is what Christ said. We gotta when we follow the Bible, brothers and sisters, we have to tie in everything. Okay, a lot of people, you're gonna find them not tying in the things because I mean, look at what's happening. Okay, and I'm gonna share this, right? So I shared with you. Let's start breaking this down. I shared with you all the the Maze Runner called number 2 called Scorch Trials. And look what it says: to burn superficially, to subject a degree of heat that changes the color of a thing, and, or both the color and texture of the surface. Now, brothers and sisters, those of you who watched my Forge by Fire series, you're excited because you know exactly what I'm talking about here. You already have privy knowledge. We went so deep into the Most High, purifying everyone, changing us from metal to gold. You already know. And look what the Maze Runner was teaching us. Part 1, you're in the wilderness, then you're running out of the maze. Part 2, Scorch Trials. Once you leave what you know as home, then the real trials begin. You following me? Then the real trials begin. It says to burn, to affect painfully with heat. Okay. And then the word trials. The word, let me get the regular one here. Excuse me. The word trials, a formal examination of evidence before a judge. Who's the judge? The Most High. A test of performance, quality, and suitability of someone or something. Scourge trials to burn you, to see your quality, to see if you come out as gold. Brothers and sisters, this is the time I highly recommend. Brothers and sisters, watch Forged by Fire. I highly recommend it. If you don't watch it, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you don't watch it, it's almost if you don't want to prepare for the times. And I would strongly suggest you adamantly watch it like you watch Hulu or Netflix because uh, I'm up there giving fine detail through scriptures as to how we are being tried to this day and moving forward. Okay, understand. Let's break this down a little bit.
I think it's safe to say the maze trials were a complete success.
So the Maze Trials was a complete success. Brothers and sisters, what was the first success that they did starting in 2019, 2020? You remember the lockdowns, right? And the lockdowns led into what? The mandates, right? There was a statistic that was just given out of 330 some odd million people in America, known as Mystery Babylon, only 71 million people have not received the vaccination. Guess what? And that's not even the number of people who serve the Most High. If you think 71 million people who did not take the vaccination serve the Most High, you need to go back to sleep. Because how many people, like, for example, there's certain Trump supporters, there's, I hate this term, that woke movement. Oh, it's disgusting. that woke movement. No, they're not gonna. None of those people believe in the Most High properly. Then you have people with the crystals and all the, oh well, this is all my energy and that just give me bad vibes and blah blah. Just because they took the vaccine means or didn't take the vaccine doesn't mean anything. So they passed the first trial. Okay, big deal. Now the harder one is coming on. Food, and transportation, and electricity.
It's too soon to say. They could be the key to everything. It's time now to begin phase 2.
And so now, brothers and sisters, they've started phase 2, interest rates like you've never thought of. Interest rates like you've never thought of. Shortages all across the board. We had, and I was going to share this later, but we had, first it started with container shortages. Then it started with shipment shortages. Then it went to pilot shortages. Then it went to trucking shortages. And now, just recently, it touched the railroads. And I'm going to go into this even greater at another time. This is the next phase. This is the next phase. Because brothers, sisters, and guess what? They talking about all this going green and all this stuff. This all got to stop so you can stop. Are you tracking? This all got to stop so you can stop. If there's no fossil fuels and different things, look what it said. I'm going to just show you. 5 ways the rail strike could worsen inflation. And this was today. Okay. It will slow food production. Boom. First thing they're talking about is food. First thing they're talking about is food. It said, so we had the trucking situation. It said trucks were transporting over 70% of grains. Okay. Okay. It says railroads have 1.6 million carloads of food transported every year. That's 400,000 carloads of grain mill products, 350,000 carloads of beverages, and 75,000 carloads of meat products. Everything is to shut you down. Now, remember this, they wanted to go green. Auto manufacturers rely on rail lines to transport vehicle parts. Bye-bye oil changes. Bye-bye. If you get in a car accident, that's it. It's over. If you get in a car accident, kiss your vehicle goodbye. You know how they used to have like, oh, if you want this car, just give a down payment of $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000. How is how are you going to feel when you get in a car accident and your repairs are going to cost more than your down payment? Game over. But this is where it's going. This is phase 2.
Welcome to the Scorch.
Now they said, welcome to the Scorch. Welcome to the fiery trial. It's meant to burn you. And brothers and sisters, how many of us have been in a sauna? How many people been deployed, or how many people been to Afghanistan? How many people been to Iraq? How many people been to East Africa? How many people been to Yemen or Saudi Arabia? How many people been to Syria? I mean, whew, It's hot. And I've lived in Phoenix before. Phoenix hot, but Phoenix is nowhere compared to the Middle East. Let me let me tell you. Let me tell you, if you've never been to the Middle East and you think the world is hot now, I'm just gonna sip my coffee because you ain't felt nothing. And so what I'm trying to say is these trials, these punishments upon the world, they're meant to make people uncomfortable. Think about it. Fire makes you sweat. When you're in a sauna, you're hot, you're uncomfortable. You're like, man, is this 30 minutes up? Right? You're like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? I don't want to move. I just want to get this over with. Right? So this is what these trials are doing. It's making people want to get it over with. And so at the end of all this, they will accept the mark because they just want to get it over with. Think about that. But for us and everyone else, I mean, for everyone, it's still the fiery scorch trials.
The world outside is hanging on by a very thin thread.
And they sit there and tell you the world is hanging on by a thin thread. Are we not? Wait until I go into the portion of lockdowns and blackouts. The world is on a thin thread. They give you the messages. In some cases, you don't even have to watch the movies. You could just watch the trailer and it'll tell you.
On this door is the beginning of your new lives.
It's awesome.
Now, who is the door? The door is Christ. So once you come and step foot with Christ, it's a brand new life now. A lot of people haven't even touched the doorknob, even if they're Christian, even if they follow the Most High, even if they know the truth. They still haven't even touched the doorknob of Christ. And now they're just beginning. And it's scary because they don't know what's on the other side. But let this lesson teach you because 2023, huh, you're going to have to show up and show out, or you're going to have to get out. That's it's just because, and then you look at it this way, right? Everywhere in the world is adapting digital identity IDs as soon as the world currencies are falling altogether. You don't see what's happening? You don't see what's happening? On that other side of the door that he's talking about is complete persecution. Because remember, especially like in places, and I gave the number for Babylon, 71 million people have not received the vaccination out of 330 some odd plus people. If you're over there, if you're in any country, that is a minority. You are a target. You are the target, and it is going to be showtime. What? And then you see Soul of a Nation talking about people who are against the president. They're lining up and making sure everyone knows the adversary of the government, which is the children of the Most High and those who follow the Most High.
We weren't the only mates.
So we weren't the only maze. That's what he said. Because guess what? There's a maze in every nation. Every country is going through trials and tribulations. There hasn't been a country that has not been affected.
What do you remember about Wicked? Remember they sent me to the maze.
Now, wicked. Who is wicked? And it's so funny. The organization in this movie is called Wicked. The world is wicked. Satan is wicked. The governments of this earth are wicked. They are the ones who control all these things through Satan, right? Are they not sharing a message?
watching my friends die in front of me.
Don't you want to understand
Understand what?
why this all happened? I just need to know. Whose side are you on?
And that was soul of a nation. Biden was saying what? Whose side are you on? All countries need to align. All countries need to align. Watch. Watch when the next war pops off. And I'm not talking about Ukraine. No disrespect to our viewers in Ukraine. No disrespect to anyone. All right. But I'm talking about the war where they not just talking about it on the news. I'm talking about when they send in nukes. I'm talking about when I made the lesson called When the Bombs Drop. I'm talking about when I made the lesson called The Era of Wormwood, when they dropped the nuclear bomb and they poison off all the waters. That's what I'm referring to. You're going to see everyone get in line. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, we got to unite as one people. But they're going to be like, hey, whose side are you on? Eh? Whose side are you on?
What? You don't know that. They lied to us. We never escaped. It's not just a part of their plan.
What do they want from us?
The maze is one thing. It's a kid for the last one day having the scorch.
You know what the scorch is? It's when the world is against you. When there's nowhere to turn, but all you have is the faith of the Most High. We're going to get into that into another lesson. But when you have the faith of the Most High and you can't see nothing, you can't see no food, you can't see a bed, you can't see shelter, you just see death and danger all around. You think you're ready? The Most High said every heart shall melt, didn't he?
What the hell?
The course of your lives will determine the course of humanity.
You understand what they said? The course of your lives will determine the course of humanity. That's slightly incorrect. Why? The course of your lives will determine how you survive. Because what you put your energy into, you reap what you sow. Didn't the Most High say that in Galatians? He said, you reap what you sow. Most High is not to be mocked. If you sow into the Most High's word, you will reap the benefits of the Most High's word. If you sow into this world, you will reap the benefits of this world, but you'll also reap the repercussions of this world.
Into light or darkness.
Now, I love that they put that in there.
The course of your lives will determine the course of humanity. Into light or darkness.
Now we know Thessalonians chapter 5 talks about be children of the light and not children of the dark. What do you think they're talking about? The course of your lives and your actions today is going to determine whether the Most High considers you a child of the light or a child of darkness. Your actions that you do right now, that you do during inflation, that you do when you have little bit, is going to determine your salvation if you make it into the kingdom of heaven. All right. So this is this is this is where we going, brothers and sisters. This is where we are going. All right. Exodus 23. Oh, this I'd say this one is really, 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 really important. Okay. Exodus 23, starting from verse 10. Please follow me on this, brothers and sisters. All right. And 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of the people may eat, and what they leave, the baskets of the field shall eat, the beasts, excuse me, and what they leave, the beasts of the field shall eat. And like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy olive yard. Now we know the vineyard is what? It was the children of Israel, right? When you see in the New Testament, John chapter 15, talk about the branches. Christ is the vine, the Most High is the vineyard, the husbandman. Dealing with the vineyard and the olive yard is those who serve the Most High. Okay. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest. Thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. Okay. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of the unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days. For those who may be new, that is in the month of March. Okay. As I commanded thee in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And I'm going to go over that portion, none shall appear before me empty, in a bit. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year. And it says the end of the year because winter comes. And when thou hast gathered in the labors of the field. Okay. Now, feast of harvest, first fruits, also known as the Shavua. Okay, excuse me. And then you have the Feast of Ingathering, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay. Notice what it says, when thou hast gathered in thy labors of the field. So this was like a short amount of time that you were supposed to what? Get everything that you need before the winter. It was almost as if the Most High was telling you what? Correlating straight with what Christ said in the book of Matthew, again, 24, when Christ said, pray that your flight not be in the winter. That means your travels, the things that you do. And what did they start off 2020 with? Dark winter, Operation Dark Winter. For those who don't know, I will also be going into that in this mini series of Feast of Tabernacles, but not today. Okay. Operation Dark Winter. So why would we be calling it Dark Winter? Look at all the things that's going on. All right. Now they coined Dark Winter for a disease, right? We get it. But look at all the things that's happening right now, brothers and sisters. And in spring and summertime next year, you're going to realize, man, this is where we've led to. This is where we've come. There will be nothing on the grocery shelves next year. Mark my words. It'll be very minimal. And you're talking about when you go to a store, you normally see the workers restocking at night, right? That won't even exist. It'll be 3-4 weeks out until they get shipments. Watch. The test was when they first started saying, oh, everyone was talking about buying bulk paper towels and toilet tissue. And I'm looking at these people like, y'all are retarded. You can't eat it. The people looking at me in the stores like, oh, he didn't even grab one toilet tissue. One, I'm not going to grab it when everyone's fighting for it. That don't make no sense. Two, I can't eat it. My family can't eat it. Those who are with me can't eat it. It's not going to give me substance. Okay? I have it. I don't need to go out and buy 4 and 5 things of toilet tissue. So at the end of the day, them people gonna look at the toilet tissue and it's like, man, I feel so stupid, right? They're gonna feel ridiculous. But all these things have led to what? A cold winter. All those articles, shortage of pilots, shortage of the truck drivers, the freight and the shipping, the cargo, the railroads, all those things say blocking of food going into cities. Okay, so this is where we're getting to. This is where we are going. And brothers and sisters, people are sharing things with me every day, and they're like, Minister Yashab, oh my goodness, I cannot believe how fast we're moving. And I say, hey, brothers, hey, sisters, hey, we're moving so fast that in the next week, something catastrophic is going to happen again. It's a revolving door. Catastrophes are a revolving door at this point. All right. So this was the time that you were supposed to gather. You were supposed to gather from that summer until this point. And if you have the means to, then go right ahead even now. Now don't. Now look what the Most High said also. He did make mention of what? Making sure that when you have enough, you give the poor of the people. So don't over binge. Okay. Don't go overboard. Understand what you eat, get what you need for those who are with you in the truth. I'm saying this very blunt. In the truth. Why? Because if you get things, let's say you're one person who lives with your entire family, and your entire family doesn't believe in the Most High, but you do, and you've been stocking up. Do you think they're going to honor rationing food? No, because they're not looking at things the way you do, right? They're not looking at things biblically. They're looking at it like, oh, I'm going to have my job, maybe I'll have my stimulus check or whatever the case is. Maybe I'll have some assistance from the government, whatever the case is, and we'll just go buy food then. That's not going to work. Hey, I've told people several times, if you stuck with, and I say stuck, because if you live with family who don't serve the Most High, you're stuck. If you choose not to leave, you're creating a very bad situation, especially with families killing themselves and suicides left and right, or family suicides. You think I want to be with people, unequally yoked people at this moment? No, sir. No, sir. So do the right thing, ration, and give a little bit of what you can. Don't give too much to the point where you'll be in the same position, just like it says in the book of Ecclesiasticus, but give what you can. Okay. Moving forward. Verse 17 reads, 3 times in a year, all thy males shall appear before the Lord God. Okay. This is major. Okay. Now we know the age of accountability was around 12 or 13. Sometimes people, start teaching their children about the Most High, like more in depth around 7 years old. that was true. The children, the young males, were taken at an early age and always put around a priest or someone like that. Um, so, with that being said, all males are to be serving the Most High. All males are to be appearing, and I'm going to talk about that appearing in a bit. Okay, but these 3 times in a year is crucial. Now, I hope that individual, that I spoke about, I hope they really do watch this entire lesson. I'm sure they won't, but I hope they do because, if you have a minister, a pastor, an elder, whoever, and they're not, and you have a lot of men in your congregation, your church, whatever the case is, and you're not telling them that they need to do this, I'm going to show you what it does and what it will do to families, to their families, moving forward. So remember this 3 times in a year. It says, thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. Behold, now check this out. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thy adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works. Please let that be known, nor do after their works, nor do after their works. Okay. But thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in the land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, showing you that this promise, that observing the Most High, is good for an entire year as long as you are doing what he says. So he says, I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year. And this goes 2 ways, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against it. So he said it was going to be slowly. But the protection was for a year. So from holy day to holy day. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. Now, please let me say this, okay, because I remember YouTube, the last video they banned they tried to say that I was promoting violence. So, hear this, okay? Because they be paying attention carefully. I am not promoting violence to break any images, okay? Brothers and sisters, this isn't the time for that right now, okay? Let the Most High do what he does, okay? I am not promoting that, okay? I am not promoting that because some people will sit there and be like, oh, well, we got to do this, you know? All right, you know, just understand how the world works, okay? And you know that obviously you get in some trouble, so this isn't the time for that. However, the key point here is look at what the Most High says he'll do just for observing these three feasts and for appearing before him. He will what? Fight for you, be an enemy to our enemies, an adversary to our adversary. Who's our main adversary? Satan. Who's his helpers? Demons, evil spirits. Okay? Who's their children? Those in the world who indulge in sin. Thou shalt not bow down to their God, so no serving false deities, no serving false gods, and that can go a long way. That can go a long way, even in the truth. Even in the truth, because all of this is saying right here is do not idolize, right? Do not idolize. All those uh, individuals who like to do red carpets and meet and greets and pictures with their elders and pastors, well, your protection would be obsolete because you are idolizing another man, right? Yeah. Remember what I said, right? In prior lessons, I said, if Christ didn't have this, why should another minister or elder have this, right? So, like I said, if Christ didn't have 100,000 followers, 200, why should someone have it now, right? I mean, it would be, as the world says, suspect. It would be sketchy, right? Because Christ, no matter what, he was preaching love and peace and how the kingdom is within us, but yet the kingdom is at hand. And that seemed to irritate people. And he did not have a lot of followers, which meant what? Those who, those who would be under Christ as his servant would be in the same likes of him, right? Moving forward, look what it says. And I said to people, you know, this is so important. At this time, the world is sky high with inflation everywhere you go. And the Most High said, he will bless thy bread and water, which means he will make a way for you. Who doesn't want that right now? Who doesn't want security and surety that the Most High is going to provide? And also make sure none of these pestilences come to you, right? Think about it. And then he's talking about there shall nothing cast their young. Protection of your newborns, protection of your young children, protection in the land wherever you are. Now, I'm gonna say this. I understand people will be people, but and you know, married people, unmarried. So, like, I understand, but this ain't the time to be having children. Like, I would be afraid if I was a woman, about to give birth or pregnant. I would be extremely fearful because of the regulations in the hospitals. Then you have half of the people in the hospitals want to abort the children. So they may do something to your child as they come out. Like, I would be petrified. And then a lot of these home doctors who do this homeopathic water bursts and stuff, a lot of those people are witches. I'm gonna bring that out in my witchcraft lesson in the future, coming soon. A lot of those people are witches. I would be petrified because there is a spirit of Moloch running rampant in the world. And it doesn't matter how crazy the world is, it seems to be always, it comes down to be always against children and the elderly. And mostly now, it's just switched on to the children being the primary targets. All right. And what about this one? The Most High said, I will make all thine enemies turn their backs to thee. Who doesn't want that? Right? Who doesn't want that? Or the Most High to drive out the enemies away from you. Not just meaning the Hivites and those alike here, but all your enemies. Okay, but recognize he said wasn't going to do it all at once, but little by little. He's going to take the worst ones out. He said all you had to do was make no covenant with them. Now, this is, brothers and sisters, this is quite deep. Okay, this is quite deep because he told us what? Not to follow their works, right? And so when we see every single government has a covenant, I want you to understand that. They have a covenant that they're ran under. And the governments are ran by a covenant, agreement. If you do this, you get that. If you do this, you get that, right? That's a covenant. That's an agreement. That's a contract. So make sure, brothers and sisters, I don't care how hard it is, do not fold. Don't bend. Don't put a knee down. Don't think about it. No. Just keep in prayer, right? Deuteronomy 16, and go from 13 to 17. Just once again, thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days after thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. And yes, it says wine. I don't drink Nazarites here. But if you're going to do this, moderation, okay? I wouldn't suggest it, as this isn't the time to be partying or celebrating. I know that there are other congregations who could care less about that, but I like to, pride myself on being a minister of preparation and soberness and readiness. Like I want the people who follow me to be ready, you know. I want you to be prepared, all in the right mind, always focused, okay, and not giving way for Satan. Because we know in today's world, there's a reason they call the liquor store spirits, is because the spirits lie within alcohol. It's as simple as that. So why put spirits into your body? And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter and thy manservant and thy maidservant and the Levite and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are within thy gates. Okay. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose. Okay, now this was also a part of appearing to the Most High because he would choose. Because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase and in all the works of thy hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. So with the coming of Feast of Tabernacles and these 3 high holy festivals, the Most High was going to bless thine increase and the works of thy hand. Like I said, once again, is that something you want to miss out on? I think not. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. And I haven't forgotten, we're going to get into that in the next verse about what it means to appear. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee. So this is a time that everyone is supposed to be giving something. Okay. And you may say, oh, what exactly do I give? Because I don't understand. It doesn't say what shall we give. Well, here's one thing: help out the fatherless, look for the widow, right? That's one way to help, right? Those are 2 ways to help. Maybe the struggling person who's in the most, help them out. How do we know this? Ecclesiasticus chapter 35 verse 1 says, he that keepeth the law, well, better yet, let me start from verse 4. Thou shalt not appear before the Lord empty. So how do you make sure that you come to the Most High properly? This is how you do it. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough. So these are the offerings now. Keeping the law is an offering. He that take heed to the commandment offereth a peace offering. So taking heed and observing commandments is considered a peace offering. He that requitteth a good turn offereth fine flour. That means if you are turning back from wicked ways, guess what? If you haven't been in the truth that long, maybe you're working out the kinks of your life and fighting the flesh and you're succeeding, that's considered offering fine flour. He that giveth alms sacrificeth praise. So please understand that alms is food. That would be giving to the poor, okay? Giving to those who are less fortunate. Like I said before, there's so much crime going on in the world. People are they're pretending to be homeless and assaulting people who give them things or may not give them things. So I would say make sure you have your discernment fine-tuned to actually give, because you don't want to be in a situation where you wanted to give with your heart and then you become a victim of something. Okay? So be wise, brothers and sisters, just like Christ said, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to the Lord, and to forsake unrighteousness is a propitation. Thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord, for all these things are to be done because of the commandment. So this is what it means to appear before the Most High. Okay, all these things are to be done during this time. The offering of the righteous maketh the altar fat. So offering of the righteous. The sweet savor thereof is before the Most High. The sacrifice of a just man is acceptable, and the memorial thereof shall never be forgotten. Give the Lord his honor with a good eye, and diminish not the first fruits of thine hands. In all thy gifts show a cheerful countenance and dedicate thy tithes with gladness. So then also giving tithing, make sure you do it with happiness and not like, oh, oh man, this is going to hurt me. If you give tithing, do it happily. Don't just give it like whatever. Give unto the Most High according as he hath enriched thee, and thou hast gotten. Give with a cheerful eye, for the Lord recompenseth and will give thee 7 times as much. So this was the blessing. Once you appear before the Most High and do what he says, he was coming to bless thee 7 times more. Hey, and book of Second Ezra says they will see us and they will be jealous, but Most High will not allow them to touch us. Okay, so if you're doing right, the Most High will not allow them to touch you at this moment. That means you will prosper while other people are making life decisions. When I'm in the supermarkets and in the stores, those with me, we travel together. I say, take a look and observe the people when you're going in. And I've seen so many people making life decisions. And I tell my people, I say, hey, my congregants, we don't make life decisions. We make right decisions. You know why? Because if you're to that point where you're making a life decision, that means you have to take something away. Okay. And the Most High never said anything about taking away from those who are righteous, right? We make right decisions in the spirit, in truth, right? So say it with me. We don't make life decisions, we make right decisions. Okay. Most High has already made our life decisions. Now we just have to follow everything that he said, and all those things are right decisions. All right. Deuteronomy 31. Excuse me. We're going to verse 9 to 13, and it reads, And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests, the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel. And Moses commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, and the solemnity of the year of release, and the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children which have not known anything may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as ye live in the land whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. Now, you may be asking, why did I read this? Okay, one, so making sure people understood, especially the men, that they needed to appear. This was law. Okay, this was serious. Okay, now, how many people knew that the Feast of Tabernacles was tied in to a year of release? So what would be released? Blessings would be released to you, right? Now, even though this is every 7 years, isn't it crucial? I mean, he says he would increase us, right? And food, bread, and water, right? He said he would increase us. So think of the severity that would have right now. If you are able to listen to my lesson, if you are, able to have food and shelter, water, is not the Most High blessing you? And I pray that everyone who's, like watching, everyone who's really like, taking heed to, the ministry and following the words of Christ in the Bible, I pray that you succeed. I really do. Because, you know, I'm going to say this once again. I feel heartbroken in some senses that I have about like 800 plus subscribers, but like I said before, 800 and what? Only 20 people watch the videos or like the videos, and only only a select few are actually, trying to get on the live, and you know, only there's a I was just talking about it the other day. I was like, man, praise the Most High. If I ever needed to know who is serious about this, there are several people who I have consistent patterns of emails asking questions and talking about the truth and talking about my videos and asking questions and like that is called trying the spirit, because these individuals have a pattern, right? So if ever push came to shove and someone asked, hey, could you help me? Or, what could I do? If I had the means to, I already have tried the spirit, because these people are consistent. Satan is inconsistent. Okay. Satan lacks consistency. He's all over the place. That's why it says a double-minded man is unstable. Satan loves consistency. Satan loves lukewarm. Satan is the author of confusion. You see? And that's why I went so deep into that first segment, or that first little portion about that individual, because obviously they're confused going to and fro. I didn't tell you to listen to those other people. I mean, if you want to ask questions or know anything, there's people all over the world asking me questions, and I answered them. I'll give or take, there's usually a good wait would be about 4 days with answering emails, because I'm also doing other things in person as well. So give or take, or the latest would be a week, but give or take, I try to, answer everyone's emails within at least 4 days. But like I said, there's people who just back to back to back to back, and I'm like, Most High, I love it. I love it, because consistency is what says I am serious about this. I am like dead serious about this. Because guess what, brothers and sisters, even if you're in different places of the world, that's okay. You want to know how someone is serious about the Most High? Consistency. Evil can only go so long. I've learned this, brothers and sisters, and not to boast or anything, but I've been on this journey for a while. I've been all across the world, uh, you know, and dealing and seeing people be possessed, and facing different experiences and different nationalities, and how different things work within the Bible. Consistency is key. Satan drops like flies. He maybe will keep up maybe for a few weeks or a month, but when you have consistent, that's how you know the spirit of truth is working within that person, right? The spirit of light is trying to get through to that person, and it's actually doing just well. Okay. So, with that being said, understand that this is so important. I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of people are getting ready to get evicted. Some people have been evicted already. Some people are facing termination in their jobs. He promised. Do you hear what I'm saying? He promised stability if you serve him until the time comes that no more stability can be used. And I'm talking about when, excuse me, I'm talking about when they finally implement everything. There won't be no stability. You're not gonna get to stay inside of a home when they say everyone should, you know, no one can live, no one can buy, sell, et cetera, without this image and mark. You're not going to be stable and be the only person on your block not having a mark. You ain't going to be in no house at that time. None of us are. It's going to be Scorch Trials. You understand? So the reason I called this once again is we will be entering into that phase. We will be entering into that phase very soon. Some brothers and sisters have already. You got people from Nicaragua. I don't know if anyone's seen the Nicaraguan government has claimed Christianity as a domestic terrorism ideology. And though they may be arresting priests and breaking in churches and arresting pastors, and though the priests aren't, teaching what's proper, it still should say something that they want all forms of the Bible and all forms of teachers gone. If you pay attention to two continents alone, brothers and sisters, you would know what time it is. You want to know those continents? It's not America, it's not Europe. If you look at Africa and if you look at South America and Central America, that region through there, you understand how fast prophecy is moving. I mean, they was chasing people up their rooftops to get that vaccination, and I think it was Colombia. I shared that video months ago. I mean, we talking about the persecution has been happening. I mean, look at what's happening in Nigeria. Look at what happened in Kenya with them going in the universities, attacking the Christian students or passing out flyers. Boko Haram and all those different groups. I mean, uh, it's been happening. When I was in Ethiopia, ISIS was there, and they kidnapped the people from the churches and beheaded them on the beach in Egypt, or should I say the beach? They beheaded them in the Red Sea. And then we had Al Shabaab and another domestic or another uh, what you would say a tribal war in Ethiopia. And even though these things go on, hey, they were kidnapping children from the schools, just like they did in Nigeria. That was when I was there. I know it still goes on. Like if you pay attention to these two continents, you would see everything. This is not to downplay any other nation, okay? Not to downplay, Myanmar, India, not to downplay Malaysia, Australia, not to downplay even China, because they going through things there. This is not to downplay any of those places, but everything has been happening in those two places, and no one cares until it happens in either China, Europe, or America and Canada. No one cares. So Pay attention, brothers and sisters, because we are just at that time where soon some people may be tested sooner than others, right? Some people may be put out sooner than others. And just because you're put out doesn't mean the Most High doesn't love you. Let's make that very clear. Mind you, this is a trial, okay? Some people have to go through trials because they haven't shown enough to the Most High. Look at it that way, right? Remember, I shared with you the definition, okay? Let me show you really quickly. So, trial can either mean temptation or fiery trial. What is fiery? Scorch trials, right? They literally got it from the Bible. They literally did, okay? They literally did. See? Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. It's always going to happen. And we will get into Hebrews 11 at another time. But yes, I want to talk about faith, where your faith should be this week. Because I'm not just going to give you, oh my goodness, the current events and what's happening. I'm going to teach you, brothers and sisters, where your faith should be. And I'm about to give you some of it after this. Okay, so pay attention. Trial. Look what it says, a testing. Brothers and sisters, every one of us should be okay with a trial. Okay, every one of us should be. You know why? How many sins have you done that you feel ashamed of? I know I've done a lot of sins. I know I've made a lot of mistakes in life, my entire life. Okay, and you mean to tell me I can get to the kingdom of heaven just by proving myself through hard trials? Sign me up. Sign me up for 100. You know why? Because I rather starve a little. I'd rather sleep in the car than be burning for eternity. Think about it. I rather show my humility and my faith than sitting with the very people that I dislike the whole time being in torment. Think about the sodomites. Think about the pedophiles. Think about those who do the adrenochrome and the blood drinking. Think about the human traffickers and the rapists and the murderers, right? And when I say murderers, I'm referring to non-repentant, because even murderers will be saved too. But I'm referring to the non-repentant. I don't want to burn knowing that these people have done way worse, and I was just right there. I was just so close to getting to the kingdom. No, no, sign me up. Hey, whatever trial I need to go through, thank you. I haven't, my life hasn't been all righteous, but if this is what it means to prove myself, then so be it. We have to start looking at things this way, because a lot of people are fighting for the government, right? And fighting for normal to go back. It's because they don't want to go through anything. Think of this, no disrespect to certain nations, okay? But there are people in the world who have been through more than others, okay? You have, people in South America. You have people in Mexico. You have people in the US. You have people in Africa, people in India, people in Malaysia, okay? You have people all over. You have people in Yemen, people in Oman, people in Egypt, people in Ghana. Love Ghana. Shout out to Ghana. Some of my best friends came from there. Okay. Um, so you have people who have been through things and others haven't. Even when I was in Africa, the biggest thing for me, and in the Middle East as well, the biggest thing for me was learning and reflecting was like, man, I'm so grateful that I was born in the US to an extent because I never had blackouts, you know, unless you didn't pay your bills, we suffer time and time, that's okay. But, you know, overall, I never had blackouts, right? I never had mornings where I couldn't eat breakfast because there was no electric, or dinners where I get off of work and there's no electric. I never experienced, a life where I couldn't flush my toilet. Yeah, that I never experienced where I had to go to a well or to the river stream just to get water for bathing or for cooking. Because those things in Africa I did experience, in the Middle East I did experience. I did. And you know what? Everyone like in Mexico, South America, Africa, India, different countries of the world, they like they laughing at people in Europe and in America and Canada talking about blackouts coming. They like been through that. That's why I'm like, boy, hey, you gonna see how much of an inconvenience it is when you have no power. If you have never been thankful for anything, you will be thankful when you no longer have it. Remember what I said. And I was living over there. I'm not talking about vacations. I'm talking about living for years. I've adapted with the Most High to that lifestyle. And then people, and you know what's so sad? I love my Judah family, you know, and all my mixed folks, my Latinos and the blacks and everyone over there in the U.S. But it's so crazy because when people talk to me about like, oh, we got to build a nation and different things, and all, I've had cousins who are like pro-black and all this stuff, and I'm like, the very people who say this stuff, they've never stepped foot out of the country into an all a country predominantly of their own nationality or their own culture. And I'm looking at you like, so you talking to me about being pro nation, pro Israel, right? But yet you have never stepped foot out of this place. Stop talking. It reminds me of I had one of my cousins. I'm not gonna mention their name. I grew up with this cousin, and she's like, pro black, and I'm like, she's been all over Europe, right? But she refuses to go to Africa. But when I go to Africa and I go to the Middle East, they're like, you crazy, but I thought you was all about the people. I was in the villages. I was not in the cities. I was in the villages. They had like makeshift huts and tents and stuff like that. Ran down to the ground. They had no bathrooms. Wasn't a bathroom in sight. Their floor on their house was the dirt on the ground. It was cardboard, and underneath the cardboard was dirt. Okay, their homes smelled like dirty laundry, and it's no disrespect to them because that's the condition of the life. There's no help. So a lot of brothers and sisters, they talk about all this, I'm pro this and I'm pro that. They haven't stepped foot in these other countries and lived or even talked or helped the people who live in those conditions. I don't want to hear nothing, because when I sit here and preach to people, I'm talking about I was doing this with me and my wife. We were doing this. No missionary work, not connected to anyone, just the Most High, not a lot of money, Don't sit there and tell me you need all the money in the world. No, just us, the Most High, and the Bible. And what? Our first month we got there, they lost our luggage and sent it to another country. He was wearing the same clothes for a month and still did the work of the Most High and still washed the same clothes every single day. All right. So when I'm speaking off of understanding these trials and understanding that the first shall be last, hey, everyone in the US, everyone in Europe been living nice and high. Hey, you gonna need some of these. You're gonna need some of these people who have been coming from these countries. They're gonna teach you how to survive because you're not gonna know what to do when you lose power. And and I'm gonna share with y'all this week during this holy week because what is one of my lessons about? Blackouts. They've been planning it for years, and it's about to come during the winter time. Mark my words. Mark the Bible's words. It's coming. So, brothers and sisters, get right with the Most High. Hey, stand your ground with the Most High. Be firm, because you don't want to be left high and dry in this. Understand, like I said, this is a trial. This is an examination by test. The test is what you will do for the Most High. It's all about what? Experience. Okay? Suffering that puts strength, patience of faith to the test. And this is why I made that comment. All these people talking about, if I would do this and I would do that. And this is no disrespect to people in Babylon, Europe. If you've never lived in what Satan's world has called a third world country, and like I said, Satan calls it that, but I don't care what no one said, it was a peaceful thing to live in the Middle East. It was peaceful. It was peaceful. I don't care how many power outages we went through, how many days where we had to decide, do we use the water to bathe or do we use the water to cook? I don't care. It was still way more peaceful than it is living in the US. I mean, it is like a gabillion loads of weight lifted off. Nothing could change that. And then we talk about, look what the Most High is talking about here. Experience. A lot of the people in these countries, America, Babylon, and Europe, they haven't experienced a thing. They think they have. Oh boy. Hey, you know, growing up as Judah, African American in the US, we all face trials and tribulations. My Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, all the different nations, natives, we all face hard times, but that don't even come close. That doesn't even come close to the things that people go through in all those countries. Doesn't even come close. I'm telling you. John chapter 7, verse 1 through 9. After these things, a moment, real quick, let me put this up here. After these things, Yeshua, the Savior, walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand. His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him. Then Yeshua said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. When he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. Now, many people, when we think of the persecution of Christ, people only think about the Passover. How many people knew that Christ was even persecuted during the Feast of Tabernacles? So he was persecuted year round. Mind you, Feast of Tabernacles is the 7th month. Passover and unleavened bread is the 1st month. Christ was attacked year round. And you want to know the key importance, for me at least? When you are of Christ, people dislike you because of this. You call out the works of evil. Excuse me. You call out the works of evil. Hey, I'm gonna sit there and tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy being a leader, because doesn't everyone say, think about this, think about the world we live in, brothers and sisters. Everyone be like, yeah, I'm doing my own thing, right? I'm gonna get my business and I'm gonna do that, right? People talk about all the things they want to do, right? I'm gonna get my this gonna be a new year, new me. This year I'm gonna get the bag. This year I'm gonna do this and that, right? Isn't that what everyone else does? So how are they a leader? You see, Christ is the image of a leader. Peter is the image of a leader. Paul is the image of a leader. I mean, look at Paul. Paul had a great job, right? Government soldier, knew he was going to have a stable pay, right? Knew he would have the finest of homes, and changed up his life, right? Changed it up. That's a leader, willing to sacrifice pay for purpose. Did you catch me? Sacrificing pay for purpose. And we see another example of pay and purpose. Judas sacrificed purpose for pay. Follow me now, right? So, two examples of one being a leader and one being a follower. It says to testify, which is to give evidence of evil. That's why no one likes when I talk about and minister about false shepherds, false pastors, false prophets, scribes and Pharisees. No one likes it. No one likes to hear that they're listening to the devil. No one likes to hear that they've been deceived. I would love to hear that I've been deceived so that I can change. You know, just like there was one brother who, when I first was, when the flutter of subscribers came, he was like, oh, you got to read certain, and so I said, I told him I would check it out. He was like, "Oh, I think you're a little wrong or whatever." So, being humble, I said, "Well, let me check it out." Usually, you know, I know what I'm talking about. Praise the Most High. And I've read these things over time and time and time and time and time and time again. Like this is my job, right? And I said, "All right, I'll just read it." Because if I said something or slipped something wrong, I'm gonna be humble and said, "Hey, brothers and sisters, I've made a mistake. I apologize." Because why? The people who adamantly listen to me, soul is on the line. I don't want to lead no one to damnation. I'm doing this because I want you to get into the kingdom. I want you to have a chance. I want you to endure until the end. Okay. But they don't like when you call out evil. It's like I could sit there and say any congregation, any church that sells the word is a devil. I don't care what they teach. Any person who makes the word of the Most High exclusive. Any pastor, any minister, any elder who has a patron is a devil. And you're gonna be like, what? I said it. They're devils. Why? Because if they had the intentions of reaching everyone, they wouldn't put a price on it, knowing that currencies are different worldwide, right? But you see, that's the difference between those who are evil and those who are righteous. The evil, if they can't get nothing out of you, they don't want nothing to do with you. The righteous, we love you, and it doesn't matter if you have anything to offer to us, because at the end of the day, you're supposed to offer your all to the Most High. And that's what we're supposed to be doing as leaders, as true shepherds, as true ministers of the Most High. And this is why we get hate. This is why. Boy, I mean, and well, if I actually did a testimonial and talked about this right here, about my testimonial with others, there was a set of, and I'll give a little testimony. There was a set of people who are my own people, Judah, African Americans. They were my own people. About 30 deep of them came from a congregation and told me, "Hey, we want to be a part of your church." And said, "Okay, I love you." And when it came push to shove, I start reading in the law of the Most High. When I start saying, "Hey, we all, on every holy day, I made sure that my congregation, we went out to give to the poor, give clothes, give food. Like when we cook for the holy days, we make hot plates for the poor and the homeless. Like we wasn't going to eat before someone could know about the Most High." And when things started getting in play with their family and the laws and about how Christ run things through scripture, they went right back to their church. And then people wonder why I don't trust people. I don't trust you. I need you to build a rapport. I need to try your spirit. No, because all those 30 people were Judases, every last one of them. And then guess what? They took my lessons, they gave it to their elders, threatened my family, right? Like, wait. You traveled this far to do this evil? Are you serious? Evil has no mileage. Evil has no mileage. And so I'm sharing, when you testify against evil, guess what? You know you're doing right, because the hate will come just like Christ. It will come. In Zechariah 14, before we get into the blessing of this, Zechariah 14, 16 through 29 reads, "And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles." So Tabernacles is going to be all the way into the ends of the world, okay, until Christ come back, and to keep the feast with those in Christ. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, who is Christ, even upon them shall be no rain. And we know rain is synonymous with blessings. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, there's a judgment for those who don't serve and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So, which side do you want to be on? Because this curse is still going to happen. We're at the time where tabernacles is a covering, right? And how ironic is that people are about to lose their homes through inflation worldwide. Isn't it like, hey, the Most High saying, hey, here's my sign. I told you the Sabbath would be for a sign, right? And if you follow them, I will be able to recognize you, right? If you don't, watch what happens. Now, don't you come crying to me when you suffering, because guess what? If you've been warned, whose fault is that, right? There will be times where people suffer, like I said, and they will come to the Most High. But as Second Ezra said, they will go through all these punishments and scourges and plagues and still not repent. Majority of the people. And that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take them and seeth therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts. And we know Canaanites is synonymous with pagan worship. So there will be no more pagan worship, no more mixture. Okay. And I did a typo there. Now, I'm about to pull up the second portion. This is called the warning. Okay. And we're going to end it at this warning. And then later, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, we're going to talk about the lockdown, and we're going to get into the blackouts. Okay. So, you have been warned. I'm going to read the Book of Enoch. Now, we know the Book of Enoch comes from Enoch, who was in Genesis, also in the Book of Jude. All right. So, for those who may be new to the Book of Enoch, please let me show you. Jude, only one chapter, which actually I found out there's actually 3 chapters in Jude, but they have done very well to take it out of the Bible, and you have to pay big money to get those. And some of the 3rd chapters and the 2 and the 3 chapters are in like an ancient Syrian form, which no one apparently today understands. But anyway, Now let's get into just the purpose of Enoch. Now, it talks about different things, okay, the angels and the evils and the fallen angels and the judgment of the great day, okay? But it says here, and Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and all of their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, having men's person in admiration because of advantage. So Enoch prophesied about the angels coming with Christ and those to execute judgment. Obviously, if this individual has a text and understood about Jude, obviously, if they understood about Jude, then there must have been a text to read, right? So, with that being said, let me spark your interest and give you some hope. All right. So, some of this is mixed, okay? Sinners and the righteous. So I want to start from, I wanted to start from, I'll start from here. This is 91. So if you're reading and the actual pseudographia, I actually have the book as well. Okay. It may say chapter 92 and then goes to 91 and then goes like back to 92 or 93. So if you want to read that, that's fine. If not, just follow along. It says, and now, my son Methuselah, call to me all thy brothers, and gather together to me all the sons of thy mother, for the words call me. And the Spirit is poured out upon me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever. And thereupon Methuselah went and summoned to all his brothers and assembled his relatives, and he spake unto all the children of righteousness and said, Hear ye, sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken aright to the voice of my mouth. Let me get that bigger for y'all. For I exhort you and say unto you, beloved, love uprightness and walk therein, and draw not nigh to uprightness with a double heart, and associate not with those of a double heart. Isn't that scripture? James chapter 1. A double-minded man is unstable. So do not mix with lukewarm people. Brothers and sisters, do not ignore the signs. You understand? I repeat, do not ignore the signs. It says, but walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on good paths, and righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on the earth. Have we not seen it? Right? And a great chastisement be executed on earth, and all unrighteousness come to an end. Yet it shall be cut off from its roots, and its whole structure be destroyed. And unrighteousness shall again be consummated on the earth, and all the deeds of the unrighteous and of violence and transgression shall prevail in a twofold degree. Do we not see sins just keep going and going and going, right? And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and all kinds of deeds increase, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement shall come from heaven upon all these, and the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on earth. Do we not see all these things? Do we not see the apostasy? Do we not see the uncleanness increasing? Right? It's like if you paid attention, I pay attention to like what they do to the children and the schools and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I never ever put my children in any one of those schools. In fact, like I said, if you don't homeschool your children and you live in like Europe or America, I don't know what you do. But maybe you may not have the ability, but you need to find some brothers and sisters who you can trust, have someone homeschool and pay them and make sure that their home is sustained. Give them a job because what they doing to the children in the schools and what they teaching is utter madness. It's crazy. It says, a great chastisement shall come from heaven upon all these, and the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on earth. In those days of violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire. And they shall remove them from the whole earth. Didn't the Most High say when this financial collapse happens, they will throw out their idols, their gold and their silver? They're gonna quit. They're gonna be like, whatever. These gods didn't work. And they the heathen shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in wrath and grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall arise from their sleep, and wisdom shall arise and be given unto them. What do we call that? Those who were once in sleep, then they're awake, okay, into the truth. Please don't confuse it with the woke movement. That was from Satan, okay? You ever notice, quick side part, you ever notice the people who say they're woke, it never has nothing to do with the Bible, okay? Simple as that. In fact, most of the people, if not all the people who talk about the woke movement and being woke, they actually hate the Bible. They just talk about being woke in the government, which that only take you so far, right? Verse 11. Let me do this real quick. Okay. Verse 11. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness shall be cut off, and the sinners destroyed by the sword, and blasphemers destroyed in every place. And we're going to talk about this sword later in this mini series. And those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall perish by the sword. And now I tell you, my sons, and show you the paths of righteousness and the paths of violence. Yea, I will show them to you again, that ye may know what will come to pass. And now hearken unto me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and walk not in the paths of violence. For all who walk in the paths of unrighteousness shall perish forever. The book is written by Enoch. Enoch indeed wrote this complete doctrine of wisdom, which is praised of all men and a judge of all the earth, for all my children who shall dwell on the earth, and for the future generation who shall observe uprightness and peace. Let not your spirit be troubled on account of these times, for the Holy and Great One has appointed days for all things. So I'm sharing this as a warning, because this first lesson wasn't meant to hit you in the gut. Okay. But when I tell you the next lesson, I'm going to give you a couple blows to the stomach that's probably going to make you gasp for air. Okay. But don't let your spirit be troubled. It's my job as a minister of Christ to inform you, to let you know of the danger that's coming, so that you are not set up as sheep for the slaughter. Okay. So as you're waiting and you're probably like, man, part two, good grief, just focus on being right, focus on, producing good fruits, focus on your talents. All right. And the righteous one shall arise and walk in the paths of righteousness, and all his paths and conversation shall be in eternal goodness and grace. He will be gracious to the righteous and give him eternal uprightness, and he will give him power so that he shall be endowed with goodness and righteousness. And he shall walk in eternal light, and sin shall perish in darkness forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books, and Enoch said concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of uprightness, I will speak these things, yea, I, Enoch, will declare them unto you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in the heavenly vision, which I have known through the word of the holy angels, and have learned from the heavenly tablets. And Enoch began to recount from the books, said, I was born the 7th in the first week. And didn't we just read that, right? He was the 7th who prophesied, 7th from Adam, while judgment and righteousness still endured. And after me, there shall arise in the 2nd week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end. Now, if you don't understand, if you were to go back and read, these weeks are referring to times like years, okay? And like eras, or so to speak, generations kind of. And after me, there shall arise in the 2nd week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end. And in it a man shall be saved, and after it is ended, unrighteousness shall grow up, and a law shall be made for the sinners. And after that, in the 3rd week at its close, a man shall be elected as a plant of righteous judgment, and his posterity shall become the plant of righteousness forevermore. And after that, in the 4th week, at its close, visions of the holy and righteous shall be seen, and the law for all the generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. And after that, in the 5th week at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. And after that, in the 6th week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and its close, the house of dominion, shall be burnt with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. What is that? A man who ascended, that's Christ. And when he ascended, after being on the cross, what happened? The Romans came into Israel. The children of Israel were dispersed amongst the 4 corners of the earth. And after that, in the 7th week, shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate. And at its close shall be elected the elect righteous of the eternal plan of righteousness, to receive 7-fold instruction concerning all his creation. For who is there of all the children of men that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? And who can think his thoughts? And who is there that can behold all the works of heaven? And who should there be one who could behold the heaven? And who is there that could understand the things of heaven, and see a soul or a spirit, and could tell thereof, or ascend and see all their ends, and think of them, and do like them? And who is there of all men that could know what is the breadth and length of the earth, and to whom has been shown the measure of all them? Or is there any who could discern the length of the heaven, and how great is its height, and upon what it is founded, and how great is the number of the stars and where all the luminaries rest. So really quickly before I move forward, this 6th week was about Christ, okay? And then the children of Israel being dispersed, the chosen root, the children of Israel being dispersed. The 7th week, there's only 7. We are that generation, okay? I want you to know. All right, there's only 7. So them saying like Christ was like, 5,000 years ago, that's a lie. Okay. We know they've lied about history. That's a lie. Okay. Because if that was the case, there would be more than 7 generations, right? So, and there would be more than 7 weeks here. So this is an apostate, as we can see. I want you to share that with y'all. Apostate, a person who renounces a religious or political belief or principle, abandoning a religious belief or principle. Let me let me get that biblically. One who has forsaken the church, and that would be what? The body of Christ. An apostate, false, traitorous, who's a traitor, a Judas. Okay. Apostate means a rebel or a renegade. Okay. This is one who, it says to designate one who has either wholly or in part, doesn't mean wholly, could mean both, or either wholly or in part left the true faith to embrace a false belief, or who has forsaken any holy profession to which he was bound by solemn vows. Wait a second. So that person didn't know. I know about where they're coming from. Didn't their elders just disperse, like their second top elder of their congregation just disperse? What does the Bible call that? An apostate. So if your top 2 elder left your congregation, what does that say about the first one? And what does that say about all their followers? Uh-oh. Oh, they won't like me when I call out the evils, will they? Sorry, not. I'm not sorry. Okay. So that's why I said it in it's so crazy, right? I said this in the last lesson, many call few are chosen, the son of wolves. I said what? How can you be a pastor and just retire? What? That doesn't exist. This isn't a job where you get to retire. The job is like when our job is done is when the sheep are all home. That's what a shepherd can't just say, I'm tired of being a shepherd. Who's going to watch the sheep? Oh boy, don't do it to him. Okay, apostate is also a heretic. All right. Okay. I'm going to get this in a better way. Okay. Now, I want to get this scripture. It says, tell a heretic twice, right? Oh, they spelled it with a K. I think they spelled it. There we go. And Titus, a man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition, reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. Now, a lot of people don't know that a heretic, this is why I say I don't debate. I don't got time to be sitting here talking with you. Hey, I don't care. If you don't believe what I'm sharing, unsubscribe, click, go home, have a nice day. I could care less, But a heretic, okay, schematic, okay, and what does it mean? To make a choice, to choose. Look what it says. Opinion chosen. This is why I say I'm a minister. I know my purpose, and it may sound very disrespectful, but I could care less about anyone else's opinion. I really don't care. Why? Because my job is to get sheep into the kingdom, right? I wasn't asking for your opinion. Okay. Yes, I know that we are the body and we all contribute, but who contributes? People in the order of the body of Christ. I'm not just going to listen to some random Joe talking about, oh, and you got to do it this way. Like, you're not even in a body of Christ. You know how you were in a body of Christ? One, if you were in a body of Christ, you wouldn't be watching my videos because you'd be worried about your own sheep, right? And two, if you were in a body of Christ, why are you going to sit there and argue with another person preaching about Christ? Didn't Paul say, hey, he's with us, but he's over there doing what he's supposed to be doing? Why do I need to sit there and talk about someone else who's doing the right thing? We're both doing the same thing in different places. Like, opinions mean absolutely toilet paper to me. They mean absolutely nothing. And a lot of people, that's why I like, I remember those individuals who came, those 30 individuals, they're like, you think you're above the Bible? And I said, no, I'm teaching you the law of Christ. I'm teaching you the law of the Bible. How Christ said, I nor anyone else is above the Bible. So if I hold it to myself, my congregants will be held to it as well. We're not doing just one person play, one person be held accountable and everyone else just roam about. All these people, brothers, sisters, that's why I also tell you, don't sit there and waste your time with individuals. Anyone who has an opinion, dismiss them. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Do what you do. Adios. I'm gone. So there's a lot of people who love to debate, and I'm like, what do you prove by arguing? One, you done got me frustrated from arguing. Two, you got frustrated from arguing. Three, this went nowhere. You didn't listen to me. I didn't listen to you. What did we do? Good. We just wasted valuable oxygen. I used to say that too when I was in high school. I say, hey, people say, you don't talk much. If I have nothing to say, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to waste my oxygen. Oh, you don't got this or you don't got that. That's what some people used to say to me in high school. Oh, you don't have this, you don't have that. Why don't you don't do this? Oh, and then people would not like me because I don't respond. Well, it's apparent that I don't have what you're talking about, so why should I even speak? Right? Okay, you pointed out the obvious. Let me give you a cookie. Let me give you a prize. Dun, 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 dun. You're the big clown, right? Because you're looking for a reaction pointing to the obvious. Now you also have other people who just try and look for weak sheep. They look for weak sheep, and I say, oh well, this is that, and this is one of those individuals who came on my lesson and saying this stuff. is a weak sheep. The sheep thinking that they're going to do something, and yet they're an apostate. And you know how they're apostate? What did Christ say about the scribes and Pharisees? They go all over trying to proselyte other people, trying to convert them only to make them into children of hell. Because, like I said, did the disciples go to any other congregations to watch their videos and then tell them that they were doing something wrong? No, they were saving souls. They were doing good works. They were baptizing. They were healing. If you feel so convicted, go do something righteous. Right? All right. Moving forward. So this is that apostate generation. Everything that we see in this world, everyone has to be opinionated, right? Everyone has an opinion. Me, I hate opinions. I hate it. But hey, I hope all the righteous hate opinions too. Moving forward. For those, for those, for who is there of all the children of men that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? Who can think his thoughts? And who is there that can behold all the works of heaven? And how should there be one who could behold the heaven? And who is there that could understand the things of heaven and see a soul? Excuse me, I read this portion all right. I apologize. Verse 90, chapter 94. And now I say unto you, my sons, love righteousness and walk therein, for the paths of righteousness are worthy of acceptation. But the paths of unrighteousness shall suddenly be destroyed and vanish. Excuse me. And to certain men of a generation shall the paths of violence and death be revealed. And they shall hold themselves afar from them and shall not follow them. And what is that? That's this generation now, right? This generation where everything leads to violence, everything leads to death, right? All the music. I mean, back in the day, we had music about death. We had music about drugs and gangs and R&B and all that stuff. But now it's hop out the car, hit you with this, come hit a lick, do a home invasion, this or that. Like, what? What? These are the same, and you know what? You know what kind of apostate generation we have? Their families will say nothing about them making this music, but let someone go and kill them. They are crying all over the news. What? You gonna rap and make music about violence and gangs and shooting and home invasions, but the minute you're killed, oh, there's a problem. Hypocrisy and apostasy. This is the generation. And so very few of us have not went down that path. Very few of us, and I say few because many are called, few are chosen, don't like it. It's sickening to us. All right. And now I say unto you, the righteous, walk not in the paths of wickedness, nor in the paths of death. Draw not nigh to them, lest ye be destroyed. So understand, when you see this calls for true discernment. Check this out. We are supposed to be walking on the narrow path, but there's paths of wickedness, and there's also separate paths of death. So certain things, for example, what are paths of death? Gang violence, right? Selling drugs is a path of death, right? Fornication and adultery, paths of death, because people will kill you about someone else. And there's people who will kill you just because you don't want to be with them anymore. Like we are in that time. Like, whew, for all the single people out there, I would say stay single. For real. Let someone lose their job and not be with the Most High. Look what's happening. People, family suicides. They kill an entire family. It's not, and what kind of spirit is that, right? What kind of spirit? You got people like you got grown adults. Okay, depression, we get it. It's serious. It's a serious spirit. It's hard sometimes to shake. And suicide is the worst thing. However, if you're going to hurt yourself, just hurt yourself. These individuals go to hurt their wife or their spouse and then go and hurt the innocent children who ain't done nothing, who don't know nothing, who don't even know what's going on. Parents don't even tell children about bills and different things happening. And you go and kill the children. Like, just, and I'm speaking it because I see all the things going on. You could even see it on social media. And I hear so many stories about people, they say, oh, the people always in the DMs and the instant messages talking to different people. I'm like, what time is this? Are you serious? Like the Joker said, are you serious? Why so serious? Are you serious? If they ain't crazy, or if they don't serve the Most High, they gotta go. But if they don't serve the Most High, they want to have abortions, they want to fornicate and cheat and have open relationships. And then if you get past that, then you got to figure out whether they trans or if they real. Are these people dumb? They talking about, man, let me shut my mouth. And draw not nigh to them lest ye be destroyed, but seek and choose for yourselves righteousness and an elect life. You see that? A life of being chosen. This is what the Most High said. A lot of people don't even understand how these books are so important. It said, choose and elect life. Walk in the paths of peace, and ye shall live and prosper. And hold fast my words in the thoughts of your heart, and suffer them not to be effaced from your hearts. For I know that sinners will tempt men to evilly entreat wisdom. Did you hear what the Most High said through Enoch? People will tempt you to evilly entreat, evilly entreat. So when people are debating or they're in that spirit of wanting to argue about the word of the Most High, look what it says. Entreat means ask someone earnestly or anxiously to do something. Ask someone earnestly or anxiously. Treat someone in a specified manner to handle them. What is it? Based on traitier, to treat. Come on now. And evil, they're going to use people. They're going to make you feel like they need you. They're going to make you feel like you got the truth. They're going to make you feel like everything you say is right. Come on now. Evilly entreat, so that no place may be found for her. Who is her? Wisdom, the Holy Spirit. And no manner of temptation may minish. Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression, and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you right now, when it says lay deceit as a foundation, for example, I know I highly doubt this individual is listening to my lessons anymore because I called them out once. I called them out again. There was a person who emailed me saying, "Oh, your lessons are so great." They wrote like 5 pages in an email. And then I read through the email and this person talking about some kind of that they're the law and they're God. And I'm like, you can miss me with that. I said, but you need to go to Christ. I said, over here, this is a ministry. I'll be praying that you come to the Most High. And after that, gone. Talking about my word is law and cursed be who come. I said, get out of here with that witchcraft. That's not what we do over here. They lay down the deceit as a foundation. Yeah, you're so amazing. Man, I got trust issues. I'm a minister. I don't trust you unless I see something righteous. That's just real. That is real. And many people may be like, but you're a minister. And you ain't seen what happened to Christ? Hello, hello, and Christ knew the entire time. Hello, I'm not even better than Christ. I'll never be close. You heard what John said. Hey, the one who comes to me, I couldn't even feel his sandals. And I'm not even close to John. I can't even, my foot is like a speck of dirt to John. Okay. So I don't believe no one. Hey, I need to see that foundation. You know what I'm saying? The foundation, brothers and sisters, is everything. The foundation is consistent. What are you building your house upon, right? A foundation, right? How are you building that house? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. A lot of people say, well, man, this minister is tough. He don't trust no one. Hey, trust is earned, right? Trust is earned, not given. You know how they say the same thing for respect? Trust is earned, not given. Simple. Just like if anyone was to ever see like my social media, yes, like when I tell you I was in the Middle East, my social media, that's exactly what you see. You see me, I started a soccer team for the kids out there. I was coaching the kids out there, soccer, basketball, football. I was holding spelling bees for kids. I was teaching them grammar and words. I was teaching the kids the Bible. I was teaching adults, Arabic adults, and Yemeni and Egyptian adults, English and in the Bible. I was visiting the poor and the children who were sick and blinded. I was doing those things. You see that? I've been to the Red Sea. I did that. You can see it all up there. My works is there. Those will be only for those who are trusted, you know? Hey, trust is earned. That's why I said, hey, people better, hey, you want some trust. I have no problem praying for you. But as far as other things, people gotta build that rapport. And I feel like everyone should be the same. You cannot let your guard down because Satan is looking to devour any second. There's so many unrighteous people here in this world, and people is looking at what's the saying? Survival of the fittest. And then they say, oh, natural selection, right? Isn't that what they so-called science taught us? Natural selection, let the weak be killed off. People trying to take advantage of what they perceive as weak. You better keep your armor up. All right. It says, woe to those who build their houses with sin, for from all their foundations shall they be overthrown, and by the sword they shall fall. And those who acquire gold and silver in judgment shall perish. Now, this is deep, brothers and sisters. This is deep. What does it mean to acquire gold and silver in judgment? A lot of people, may say, oh man, this is crazy, right? Acquiring someone's possessions through their loss. Are you following me? Now, obviously, in the Bible, it talks about, the children of Israel getting the riches of the Gentiles and different things like that. So this is not talking about a righteous judgment. This is talking about, oh, you set someone up to have their things taken, and then you enjoy their riches while they are suffering. Most High is like, I got you. Woe to you, ye rich, for ye have trusted in your riches. From all your riches shall ye depart, because ye have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches. Now, isn't that all these people suffering right now? All the rich, and I'm seeing a lot of wealthy families. Like they got nice homes and everything, right? Committing family suicides and killing one another. Most High said they trusted in their riches. And the minute they start losing these things, minute they hear of job cuts and pay cuts and job losses, that inflation not allowing them to go on vacation the way they like, they start killing each other. They start losing them. And the Most High said, because you remembered not the Most High. I don't care what these people say. These people go on vacation. They do whatever they want. They have a good time. What does it mean to remember the Most High? It means to observe what He says, right? So just because you say God is good, that means absolutely squat to Him. It means nothing. It says, ye have committed blasphemy and unrighteousness, and have become ready for the day of slaughter, and the day of darkness, and the day of great judgment. Thus I speak and declare unto you, he who hath created you will overthrow you, and for your fall there shall be no compassion, and your creator will rejoice at your destruction. This is the same thing in Proverbs chapter 1. Most High says, I'll laugh at you because you're going to listen to me. So, hey, once again, your fall, there shall be no compassion. This is why, hey, when some people fall, I'm going to be like, well, I remember growing up, people used to say, oh, well, only if they just get a job, only if they stop being on welfare and government assistance. And now these are the same people looking for a stimulus check. Is that not government assistance? And so, hey, the tides have turned now. But they clenching tight to that pride. And for that pride, the Most High is going to rejoice at their destruction. And your righteous ones in those days shall be a reproach to the sinners and to the godless. So, brothers and sisters, as we stand righteously, our righteous actions will be a reproach to sinners and godless. So, whether you like it or not, you will stand out. You will be looked upon in a bad way. Just watch. When people recognize that inflation's not bothering you, that the Most High is increasing you, that He's keeping your job, that you're not getting laid off, or maybe you got laid off and got a better job, they're going to be like, whoa, right? Whoa, what are you doing that's right? First thing they're gonna be like, oh, first thing they're gonna say, hey, can you give me the hookup? Next, hey, can you send my CV, my resume? Next, they're gonna say, how'd you do your resume? What'd you do differently? Brothers and sisters, give them one word: God. Civil, most high. Continuing. Oh, that my eyes were a cloud of waters, that I might weep over you and pour down my tears as a cloud of waters, so that I might rest from my trouble of heart, who has permitted you to practice reproaches of wickedness. And so judgment shall overtake you, sinners. Fear not the sinners, ye righteous. For again will the Lord deliver them into your hands, that ye may execute judgment upon them according to your desires. Now, boy, oh boy, what happens when you got the sinners face to face against you? Hey, and I've shared this in, I think it's in Zephaniah and Zechariah. I've shared with the congregants before. This is going to be a fight. You think they're just going to let you just prance around and walk around in righteousness? It will come to physical. It will come to physical altercations. But the Most High said, fear not, because it's not them coming after us. It's him delivering who hated us the entire time. You following me? It's him delivering those who hated us the entire time face to face. And he will, and it said it also in the minor prophets, that he will give us power like David, because this will get physical. It will. Woe to you who fulminate anathemas, which cannot be reversed. Healing shall therefore be far from you because of your sin. Now, I wrote this in my book, but here, fulminate, express vehement protests. Look, look, look. Explode violently. Okay. Okay. Explode violently. Those are people with anger issues, right? People who can't control their emotions. There ain't no one more in this world that I've seen that can't control their emotions more than that alphabet trained community. They are so enraged. When I say enraged, I mean, you read a scripture, it's like you done shot at them. Like, that's how enraged they are. Like, you reading the Bible or talking about the Most High is as if you put a knife to their neck. What? 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 To fulminate anathema. All right, anathema. So fulminate, going back to it, to explode violently about something or someone that one vehemently dislikes. Look at this now. Come on. Come on now. This can't be reversed, the Most High said, because these people just keep going and going in sin. It says, woe unto you who requite your neighbor with evil, for ye shall be requited according to your works. That means if your neighbor do good to you or does no harm, and then you do evil to them, Most High is like, what you doing? It's going to happen to you. Woe to you, lying witnesses, and to those who weigh out injustice, for suddenly ye shall perish. Hey, And people wonder why America got such a big issue. Everyone who be talking about this country, and when I say this country, I'm referring to Babylon, right? Or should I say that country? That country, Babylon. They be talking about, oh, we're built on the founding fathers and the Constitution. I'm just like, I want to slap these people. Also, I want to slap some sense into these people. You sound like an idiot. Constitution. We, the people, have the right to kill anyone we want to, and you have nothing. You have no power or say so over what we do. We, the people, which was always standing for the government, have the power to tax you, rape you, steal from you, kill you, and you still gonna shut up and take it. That's what that country stands for. Woe to you, sinners, for ye persecute the righteous. For ye shall be delivered up and persecuted because of injustice, and heavy shall its yoke be upon you. And boy, the tides are turning. I don't know if you see what's going on in the world, but hey, I have nothing against people, who are in righteousness. But let's take South Africa for an example. Someone tell me, how in the world is a whole continent of a certain ethnicity of people, right? A certain creed, so to speak. And then you go and set up soldiers in their country, kill their main leaders, and then set up shop. And then you have the audacity to call them racist. And now the tides have turned where what do they say? The xenophobia is happening. It's been happening for years. They've been killing the farmers, white farmers, and in South America. I mean, not South America, South Africa. I'm like, you, the Bible said you reap what you sow. Curses were passed generation. So don't sit there and say, oh, no, 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 no. That's what they always say, right? No, that's not us. That was then, and the Bible says generational curses from generation to generation. So the reason why people are in the world and in the lowest state that they are is because the curses of the Bible that carry from generation to generation. And because we have to stop the curses by serving the Most High, and people are being, let's say, forced not to serve the Most High or even inquire about serving the Most High, it makes it hard to break those curses, and it makes the curses easier to perpetuate. Okay. But how can you sit there and I'm saying that because they're being delivered and persecuted because of that injustice. You make up laws, and then I'm sitting here saying this, and this is no offense to any of my Caucasian brothers or sisters who are watching, you know, but and I know it doesn't affect you, but how can you, like, when people say, "Oh, the blacks and the Latinos and the natives of the world, they're trash and they're just ghetto," and they say all the derogatory things, right? As the Bible says, bywords. But yet, the people who brought the lockdowns and shots and mandates and all that, these were no people of color. Okay. I wonder how life would be if roles were reversed and we changed something, but only was serving the Most High. Only was serving the Most High. Let's make that clear. All right. Moving forward. Heavy shall its shield be upon you. Be hopeful, ye righteous, for suddenly shall the sinners perish before you, and ye shall have lordship over them according to your desires. And in the day of tribulation of the sinners, your children shall mount and rise as eagles, and higher than vultures will be your nests. And ye shall ascend and enter crevices of the earth and the clefts of the rock, forever as conies before the unrighteous, and the siren shall sigh because of you and weep. Does anyone know what a siren is? Y'all seen mermaids? Okay, mermaids. Look what it says. Greek mythology, each number of women or winged creatures whose singing lured unwary sailors on to rocks. Little Mermaid? Okay. So, and now you see that all of these they talking about the real mermaids now. They showing up all these videos of mermaids washing up in Indonesia, mermaids washing up in the Philippines, like mermaids washing up in Mexico. You don't think this is not biblical? Everything is tied to the Bible. It says the sirens, the mermaids shall weep because of you, shall sigh because of you and weep. Wherefore fear not, ye that have suffered, for healing shall be your portion, and a bright light shall enlighten you, and the voice of the rest of ye shall hear from heaven. Woe unto ye sinners, for your riches make you appear like the righteous, but your hearts convict you of being sinners. Wow, right? And this fact shall be a testimony against you from a memorial of your evil deeds. Now, is one thing to be ashamed of your sins. That's true, right? Don't let them linger. And you're going to see me talk about this in another segment. Don't let your sins linger, okay? Woe unto you who devour the finest of the wheat and drink wine in large bowls and tread underfoot the lowly with your might. So this is talking about those who just fine dine and always eat and then put people down and then, having the workers that they least respect do all the work but eating of all their labors. Okay. We see this commonly today, don't we? This is a normal, right? It says, woe unto you who drink water from every fountain, for suddenly ye shall be consumed and withered away, because ye have forsaken the fountain of life. And this means what? What is water? Water was supposed to be life. This is going to and fro, but they have forsaken the fountain of life, which is Christ. Okay. Once again, I was talking about that in the beginning. Don't be going to and fro. All right. Woe to you who work unrighteousness and deceit and blasphemy. It shall be a memorial against you for evil. Woe to you, ye mighty, who with might oppress the righteous, for the day of your destruction is coming. And those days, many and good days shall come to the righteous in the day of your judgment. So I've said this before, I'll say it again. Their destruction is our salvation. So they sitting up there wanting the new normal to come back. I'm like, yes, let's go destroy this place, destroy it already, because their destruction is our salvation. Believe ye righteous, that the sinners will become ashamed and perish in the day of unrighteousness. Be it known unto you, ye sinners, that the Most High is mindful of your destruction. The angels of heaven rejoice over your destruction. What will ye do, ye sinners? And whither will ye flee on the day of judgment? when ye hear the voice of prayer of the righteous, yea, ye shall far like unto them against whom this word shall be a testimony. Ye have been companions of sinners. So separate yourself, brothers and sisters. Separate yourself from the companion of sinners. Be equally yoked. And in those days, the prayer of the righteous shall reach unto the Lord, and for the days of your judgment shall come. And all the words of your unrighteousness shall be read out before the great Holy One. That's on the day of judgment. And your faces shall be covered with shame, and he will reject every work which is grounded on unrighteousness. Woe to you, ye sinners who live in the mid ocean and on dry land, whose remembrance is evil against you. That means those who just living it up, having a good time. Okay. Woe to you who acquire silver and gold in unrighteousness and say, we have become rich with riches and possession and have acquired everything we have desired. I think of this, and man, when I think of this, I'm thinking of, do y'all see what's happening in California and Babylon, where like it has become a like spoil central. Like people are getting robbed broad daylight. They pass laws where they allow people to rob people. Like, oh man, it's just crazy. And now let us do what we purpose, for we have gathered silver. Many are the husbandmen in our houses, and our granaries are brimmed full as with water. Yea, and like water your life shall flow. For your riches shall not abide, but speedily ascend from you. For ye have acquired it all in unrighteousness, and ye shall be given over to a great curse. Now, I have about two more short chapters, but this is crazy also, because if you live in, well, anywhere, because crime happens everywhere, right? What do you think is going to happen when the gangs and the people have nothing tangible to rob? What level of evil do you think is going to occur next? Think about that. That's where everyone's mind should be. Okay, and being aware, avoiding those evils, right? And now I swear unto you, to the wise and to the foolish, for ye shall have manifold experiences on the earth. So, brothers and sisters, we shall what? Have many experiences. Doesn't mean they're all going to be bad, doesn't mean they're all going to be good, but we will go through hard things. For ye men shall put on more adornments than a woman, and a colored garments more than a virgin, in royalty and grandeur, and in power, and in silver, and in purple, and in gold, and in purple, and in splendor, and in food they shall be poured out as water. Now, this was talking about what? The righteous, because it was mentioning royalty. Why would it say men shall put on more adornments than women? Because in this world, women have been adorning themselves in almost every aspect, right? And then now I know that it's very expensive for women to dress modestly. I know you're talking about $100 dresses, $300 dresses, like, and these dresses and these things are so beautiful, but they always make it where the most modest things are cheap and the most modest things are expensive. And they do the same thing for men as well. But as far as adornments go, I think we can say fairly that it's been, more so about on Satan's kingdom. So it'll be a little bit more about the men of the Most High moving forward. Therefore, they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom, and they shall perish thereby together in their possessions. Now, this is I must say, because it said to the wise and foolish. It's both. Okay, so one would be in royalty and grandeur and power. If you know, gold and purple is in righteousness. Now it talks about the foolish, therefore they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom, and they shall perish thereby together in their possession, with all their glory and their splendor, and in shame and in slaughter and great destitution, their spirit shall be cast into the furnace of fire. Why do I say it was both? One, like I said, it acknowledges both. And two, don't we see uh, sodomite men wearing more than women? We see drags. I mean, good grief. I say this all the time. If I was a female, and I seen a man dress up like a woman, I'd be like, "You look like a clown, dude. What are you?" I mean, I'd be like, and it's crazy because when you look at these people, it's like I've never seen a woman put so much makeup on. Like they, good grief, it's comical. It's sad and comical at the same time because I'm like, because I know, and I've said this all the time, like drags, they imitate women. They want to be a woman. But I'm like, I've never seen women do that. All right. But it's sickening, man. But this goes both ways because it's to the wise and the foolish. It's wild. But with that being said, also, if men are putting on more things than a woman, that means women are also wearing less, which means, it's not proper either. Because, I mean, we see that. There's I'm laughing because I have to tell my little daughter if she sees a commercial or something with someone with ripped pants, she'll be like, "Daddy, that girl's not dressed modest. Like, what's wrong with her clothes?" And I'll sit there and say, "Baby, she didn't have no money, so she just went to the dumpster to find clothes." Like I'm the one who says that because my daughter will be like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not good." She needs to serve the Most High because this is getting out of hand, brothers and sisters. It is getting out of hand. Moving forward, it says, "Therefore they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom, and they shall perish thereby together in their with their possessions, and with all their glory and their splendor, and in shame and in slaughter, and great destitution." I read that one already. I'm moving to verse 4. "I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, as a mountain has not become a slave, and hills do not become an handmaid of a woman, even so sin has not been sent upon the earth, but a man of himself has created it, and under a great curse shall they fall who commit it." Wow, right? "And barrenness has not been given to the woman, but on account of the deeds of her hands, she dies without children." Okay. That's self-explanatory. But like I said, I don't think this time anyone, if you're single, male or female, look at what's out there. Really, it, you're trying to you you're trying to you're trying to find something normal in a circus. Okay, it's like you looking for a piece of steak and a cheesecake in the circus. They don't sell those things there. You ain't gonna find what you like. You ain't gonna find what's right. I agree. Brothers and sisters, I say that just focus on Christ. Please do yourself a favor. "I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, by the Holy Great One, that all your deeds, that your evil deeds are revealed in the heavens, and that none of your deeds of oppression are covered and hidden. And do not think in your spirit, nor say in your heart that ye do not know, that ye do not see that every sin is every day recorded in heaven, in the presence of the Most High. And so we call this the angel of presence. This is also in the Bible. The angel of presence records every single thing we do every day. Brothers and sisters, if you feel like you have no time, it's because we don't. So make everything count. All right. From henceforth ye know that all your oppression wherewith ye oppress is written down every day till the day of your judgment. Woe to ye fools, for through your folly shall ye perish, and ye transgress against the wise, and so good hap shall not be your portion. And now know ye that ye are prepared for the day of destruction. Wherefore do not hope to live, ye sinners, but ye shall depart and die. For ye know no ransom. For ye are prepared for the day of great judgment, for the day of tribulation and great shame of your spirits. Woe to you, ye obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood. Whence have ye good things to eat and drink and to be filled? From all the good things which the Lord, the Most High, has placed in abundance on the earth. Therefore ye shall have no peace. So the Most High is saying, of all the things people could eat, they prefer medium rare and rare. I just don't get it. Even when I was in Ethiopia, I love Ethiopia, but just be eating kit food. You know what I'm talking about. they they be eating kit food, and I'm like, that's raw meat. For those who don't know, and I'm out, and I'm like, oh, when I was teaching, my students was like, you want some fur? Okay, I rock with fur. Okay, that's enjado, with their little sauce, dodo wat sauce and all that. But like when one of my students passed me some fur, I was like, nah, you can eat lunch by yourself today. We not doing that. That's not, yeah. I just will never get why people prefer blood and food. I don't understand. It says, woe unto you who love the deeds of unrighteousness, wherefore do ye hope for good hap unto yourselves? Know that ye shall be delivered in the hands of the righteous, and they shall cut off your necks and slay you, and have no mercy upon you. Once again, I'm not promoting violence, okay? I'm just reading, okay? And no one should be doing this now. This is for when a shift comes and you have to actually use force to defend yourself. I say I am not promoting violence. Woe to you who rejoice in the tribulation of the righteous, for no grave shall be dug for you. Woe to you who set at naught the words of the righteous, for you shall have no hope of life. And man, cannot emphasize on this, because there's nothing I hate more. And yes, I said hate. There's nothing I hate more. Everyone who knows me closely knows what I'm about to say. There's nothing I hate more than people who come to me and ask me for assistance and guidance. And then I tell them, and then they go and do what they want just to fall and then come back. Oh my goodness. I will chew your head off because I hate my time being wasted. Like seriously, and this is what it's talking about. How many people have watched my lessons just to be like, whatever. Hey, scripture says what it says. That's just what it is. Woe to you who write down lying and godless words, for they write down their lies, that men may hear them and act godlessly towards their neighbor. Therefore they shall have no peace, but die a sudden death. Write down their lies. That's books, that's teachings, that's academies, that's all that stuff. All of it. It says, woe to you who work godlessness and glory in lying and extol them. And ye shall perish, and no happy life shall be yours. Woe to them who pervert the words of uprightness and transgress the eternal law and transform themselves into what they were not, into sinners. They shall be trodden under foot upon the earth. In those days make ready, ye righteous, to raise your prayers as a memorial, and place them as a testimony before the angels, that they may place the sin of the sinners for memorial before the Most High. So that's just praying for people, hoping that they change. I will say, and this is what we call making a petition for someone. So if someone you know is in the truth, or if you're in the truth and you want someone to come into the truth, you can make a petition for them. But please understand, petitions do not work against Christ. So the first thing people would do is make a petition for their family. That's not going to work, okay? Christ said he'd come in to put a variance at the entire family. Your foes shall be of those of your own household. That's your family members. So you can't sit there and pray for family. Nice try. Maybe a friend, maybe a coworker, things like that. In those days, the nation shall be stirred up, and the families of the nation shall arise on the day of destruction. And in those days, the destitute shall go forth and carry off their children. They shall abandon them, so that their children shall perish through them. Yea, they shall abandon their children that are still sucklings and not return to them. They shall have no pity on their beloved ones. Y'all see, they making drop boxes for newborns. You see people just abandoning their children on the side of the road. Does the scripture lie? No. They just giving up their children like whatever. And again, I swear to you, ye sinners, that sin is prepared for a day of unceasing bloodshed, and they who worship stones and engrave images of gold and silver and wood and stone and clay, and those who worship impure spirits and demons and all kinds of idols, not according to knowledge, shall get no manner of help from them. And they shall become godless by reason of the folly of their hearts, and their eyes shall be blinded through the fear of their hearts and through the visions in their dreams. Through these they shall become godless and fearful, for they shall have wrought all their work in a lie, and shall have worshipped a stone. Therefore in an instant shall they perish. But in those days blessed are they who accept the words of wisdom and understand them, and observe the paths of the Most High, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and become not godless with the godless. For they shall be saved. Woe to you who spread evil to your neighbors, for ye shall be slain in Sheol. And Sheol is another term for hell or Hades. You can read that also about that, the discourse of Hades in the book of Josephus. Woe to you who make deceitful and false measures, to them who cause bitterness on the earth, but they shall thereby be utterly consumed. And has anyone heard of shrinkflation? Shrinkflation. That's deceitful and false measures. So they shrinking the products and putting less products and charging more money for it. Make sure that you're paying attention to what you buy, because everything is shrinking. It may not look like it, but pay very close attention because it is. And look it up, shrinkflation. It's been happening for a few months, if not a year, I believe. Woe to you who build your houses through the grievous toil of others, and all their building materials are the bricks and stones of sin. I tell you, you shall have no peace. That's people who, my goodness, I think that's almost Europe and America and places like that where you have like maybe sometimes immigrants and people who don't make much money, right? They're making these beautiful, beautiful, extravagant homes, yet they go to the worst of conditions, right? Most High said this is not equal. Woe to them who reject the measure and eternal heritage of their fathers, whose souls follow after idols, for they shall have no rest. And that means rejecting the measures of their fathers, meaning stop worshiping idols. Woe to them who work unrighteousness and help oppression and slay their neighbors until the day of the great judgment. Key word, help oppression. So if you are a part of like, voting and all this stuff, name a politician that actually help people. Name a prime minister, politician, you know, name anyone. Oh, wait. All right. For he shall cast down your glory and bring affliction on your hearts, and shall arouse his fierce indignation and destroy you with the sword. And all the holy and righteous shall remember your sins. And in those days, in one place, the fathers together with their sons shall be smitten, and brothers one with another shall fall in death till the streams flow with their blood. Now, we see this now, where the families are killing one another. This is what the Most High is talking about. For a man shall not withhold his hand from slaying his own sons and his sons' sons. Right? We see this. And the sinner shall not withhold his hand from his honored brother. From dawn till sunset they shall slay one another. And the horse shall walk up to the breast in the blood of sinners, and the chariot shall be submerged to its heights. In those days the angels shall descend into the secret places and gather together in one place all those who brought down sin, and the Most High will arise on the day of judgment to execute great judgment among the sinners. And over all the righteous and holy he will appoint guardians from amongst the holy angels to guard them as the apple of an eye, until he make an end of all wickedness and all sin. And though the righteous sleep a long sleep, they have naught to fear. And then the children of the earth shall see the wise in security. Did you hear what I just said? They will see all the wise in security, and shall understand all the words of this book, and recognize that their riches shall not be able to save them in the overthrow of their sins. This is twofold, okay? This is the righteous being protected, and this is also the elite. They're going to have everything set up for them. They're just crashing everything. And then you're going to finally realize a paycheck, that's why I said to people, use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Okay? Woe to you, sinners, on the day of strong anguish, ye who afflict the righteous and burn them with fire. Because Most High did say some of the people are going to kill others thinking that they're doing God's work. You shall be requited according to your works. Remember what they did to Christ. They called Christ a heretic. They called him a devil. They thought they was doing God's will. Did they not? The scribes and Pharisees and Sadducees, they thought they was doing Most High's will. Woe to you, ye obstinate of heart, who watch in order to devise wickedness, those who plotting on others, sickening. Therefore shall fear come upon you, and there shall be none to help you. Woe to you, ye sinners, on account of the words of your mouth and account of the deeds of your hands, which your godlessness as wrought, and blazing flames, burning worse than fire, shall ye burn. And now know ye that from the angels will he inquire as to your deeds in heaven, from the sun and from the moon and from the stars in reference to your sins, because upon the earth ye execute judgment on the righteous. And he will summon to testify against you every cloud and mist and dew and rain, for they shall all be withheld because of you from descending upon you, and they shall be mindful of your sins. So anyone wondering why the Most High is allowing this? The world has been going into so much sin, it's wild. Okay. Did anyone notice, like, uh, when the lockdown came, teachers started quitting, you know? And did anyone notice, like, the teachers started becoming OnlyFans and all that stuff? And I'm like, what happened? Like, it used to be teachers used to promote morality and modesty and saying be a good person and work towards, your goals. And now OnlyFans. Like, what? What is happening? All right. It says, and he will summon to testify against you to every cloud and mist and dew and rain, for they shall all be withheld because of you from descending upon you, and they shall be mindful of your sins. And now give presence to the rain, that it be not withheld from descending upon you, nor yet the dew when it has received gold and silver from you, that it may descend. When the hoar and frost and snow with their chillness, and all snowstorms with all their plagues fall upon you, in those days you shall not be able to stand before them. So now the Most High talk about what? That winter, right? That winter is going to be gruesome. I'm going to leave it at that because that's exactly what I wanted, right? Because next, brothers and sisters, next lesson, we will be talking about the lockdowns and the blackout. Now, I want you to understand why I read Enoch, because the warning was for sinners, okay? The warning was for those of you who maybe know sinners. And also, I wanted you to understand that this judgment is not for everyone, okay? Think of it this way. The evil powers that control this world, they want us all to suffer because they have to suffer. That's Satan. You had nothing to do with their sins. We never sacrificed to Moloch. We never human trafficked or adrenochrome, drank people's blood or nothing like that. But they want us to suffer because of them. I've never shot nobody, killed anyone. Like, we've never done the atrocities of the world, but yet they want everyone to suffer. Okay. And I share that with you so you understand, like I said, the inflation is not for the righteous. The inflation in the famine is not for the righteous. It is for the sinners to come to their knees and repent. We, following the Most High in Christ, are just here for the ride. Think of it that way. Yeah, it's a test, it's a trial, Scorch Trials. And why is it, remember, through all of this, there's a reason why it's called Scorch Trials. It's called Scorch Trials, supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. But remember, some people are going to die through this. Remember, the Most High wants to make us refined like gold. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 tells us an acceptable man is tried in the furnace. Come out like gold. Hey, we all have discrepancies. So our weakest points will be tested to purge out the sins that is left, the weaknesses that is left, the doubts that are left. As we get closer to the ultimate push towards ID 2020, which is a part of the Great Reset, the economic collapse and the mark, I want you to start to think and realize, and really through these next 8 days, thank the Most High for what you have. Thank the Most High for the things you've taken for granted. Thank the Most High, even if you feel like you have nothing, just thank the Most High. Because soon we will be with nothing but the shirts off our back, maybe the shoes on our feet. All right. So with that being said, I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Those who joined me through the live, those who listened, I appreciate you. Once again, if anyone has any questions on how to prepare, please feel free to email me. If you are in like the US or if you're in Europe, please let me know specifically, as you will have the means to get, different prep items. Certain places don't ship to other places. So no, I'm not saying I'm shipping anything to anyone, but I can definitely give websites where, people can stock up. I can even give you an inventory of the things that you may need for the future. But you got to get it quick, brothers and sisters. You got to get it quick because time's a ticking. Time's a ticking. All right. So with that being said, I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Do not hesitate to ask questions. Time is running out. Do not hesitate. I love you all. Shabbat shalom.